of Rangers against Aberdeen on digital, online at BBC Sports Sound, BBC Radio Scotland Extra on your smart speaker and on BBC Sounds. If it's open all mics you fancy, that will be on BBC Sounds, FM and online.
Oh, what a goal!
All the action.
What a moment!
From all the biggest games.
This is Sports Sound.
Oh, it's a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Another goal!
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. Another day of drama awaits in Scottish football, being round the grounds at the 4 top flight games. 2 games take place tomorrow, of course. Livingston against Celtic, Ross County against Hearts. Full coverage on Sports, and we had 2 games in the Championship last night. Morton 4, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Queen's Park 2, Dundee 2. So tight at the top of that Championship table. Just 2 points separate the top 6 there. Ayr United top, Dundee in 6th. Let's then get to Gayfield, Arbroath against Ayr United. There for us, Kenny Crawford.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, fascinating to see how Ayr United cope with being front runners in the second tier. As you mentioned, Kenny, only goal difference puts them top. They have a better goal difference of 3 goals than Morton, who had that brilliant result last night. But they've not been in the top tier of Scottish football for 44 years, have Ayr United. They get relegated along with Clydebank at the end of the 1977-78 season, and now we see how they deal with the pressure of being top. Arbroath got back to winning ways last week against Hamilton Accies, thanks to a revitalised Bobby Lynn, who's got 3 goals in his last 4 games. Interesting to see if they can build on that this afternoon. Really looking forward to Arbroath against Ayr United.
Yeah, the Championship never fails to deliver. Let's then get to Starts Park. Raith Rovers against Partick Thistle. There for us, Chris Doolan. Good afternoon, Chris.
Afternoon, Kenny. Setting up to have a fantastic game here at Starts Park. Looking at the home side especially, they've managed to keep the team the same. I think I'm looking at a confident, buoyant Raith Rovers after picking up some valuable points away at Arbroath and then at Inverness as well last week. 2 difficult places to go to, and they've had 3 wins at home out of 5, so they'll be looking to add to that this week. And with a guy like Sam Stanton, who's in fantastic goal scoring form, 3 in his last 4 games, they'll certainly have pose a threat going forward. And for Thistle, this is a big game for them to get back in track and back to winning ways. You know, they're title contenders. It's been a tough month for Thistle. They've lost 12 goals in the last 3 games, which is something that Ian McCall will be desperate to put right today. And they know they need a big base to build from. So, but, you know, guys like Anton Dowds, Steve Lawless in the squad, they do have players in there who can create and finish, but it's all about taking those chances. They've created a lot of chances in all their games, but it's about taking it. But to me, this has got the makings of a terrific game today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Chris Doolan will bring us all the news from Starts Park. Derek Ferguson is covering Hamilton Accies against Cove Rangers. Your thoughts on this one, Derek?
Yeah, absolutely, Kenny. I tell you what, strange feeling today, Kenny. It's like the good old days in terms of, I've got a guy I thought that looked like Richard Gordon. In fact, it is Richard Gordon sitting next to me. So no, it's great to see him in his new role, obviously at Cove Rangers. We've just kicked off, and this is a massive game. Yeah, it's at the bottom end of the table, Hamilton rock bottom, but a win today takes them above Cove. So it's so tight, this Championship, this league in this division, and not a lot between, if you look at the top, who's sitting at the top to the bottom. So and it'll be intriguing here today, but 2 sides again, as we always get, well I always think I get, it's 2 teams that fancy that they can win a game of football. So we're off and running, and Accies in the front foot at the moment.
Fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4 teams level on 21 points in the Championship. Thistle just a point behind, and a further point behind are Dundee. So let's then get to our main game this afternoon. There's the option of commentary. Rory Loy is covering the match at Ibrox for us on Open All Mics. Just underway there, Rory.
Yes, indeed. A real cheer of encouragement as Rangers kicked the game off. Not a lot's happened, to be fair. I think we're 2 or 3 minutes late kicking off, Kenny, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Aberdeen coming to Ibrox is a massive game at the best of times, but with an informed Cholak at one end and Aberdeen with a couple of strikers in Miovski and Duke in form at the other end, this should make for a really, really good game. Really looking forward to it. Not too much action so far. I was just double checking with Martin, the engineer, who VAR was today, and he said Leanne Crichton, so he was forgetting he was forgetting that we actually have VAR in these days. So
we'll see if they're as good as Leanne as she's across all these games in the studio. Rory, we heard the guys talking earlier about the chopping and changing by the Rangers manager. What do you make of the side he's gone with today?
listen, that's not ideal in terms of chopping and changing all the time. Kent keeps his place today. I look back at their last convincing win, and it was a 4-0 win at home at St Mirren, and Kent didn't happen to play that day. Like, he doesn't have a lot of options, the manager, in terms of what he can do. With Kent on one side, Sakala's capable, but a lot of these guys have best performances have came off the bench. The likes of Sakala, Matondo, they come on with 30 minutes to go and impact the game, and that generates a start in the following game, and possibly can't get going from the word go. But I think in terms of today, he's got the firepower to deliver. It's just whether they can do it on the pitch or not.
Yeah, and Liam, we've spoken a lot about the recruitment at Aberdeen. It's been a really good job by Jim Goodwin. He was quite ruthless, wasn't he, towards the end of last term, getting rid of a lot of players. He's built really well, and my goodness, he was confident ahead of this one today.
Yeah, he was, and I think that's where Jim Goodwin has always come up trumps, is his recruitment. I think he did very well at St Mirren. He would always unearth a real gem that other teams would be looking at and looking to go and recruit. And it was just the question whether he could do that with a different type of budget and a different type of market in terms of players that you would be looking at Aberdeen. But he knew what he wanted. As you say, he was clear, he was ruthless when he went in. He made changes, he got rid of a few, and he's built a real strong squad now. In this I can understand, I'm playing devil's advocate earlier just in terms of the confidence levels of him, but he's got to back himself, and I think when you're the Aberdeen manager, you need to fancy your chances to come to Glasgow and really go and try and compete with Rangers and Celtic. Today will be a big test for them, and we'll see how they fare up.
Let's get to Easter Road. Michael Stewart is there for us. Hibs against St Mirren. We heard from Lee Johnson before the game. Michael, what do you make of him and the job he's doing? He gives us some cracking interviews, I think it's fair to say.
Goal!
Oh, take it away, Alan.
St Johnson as Stevie May deflected effort. He does a lovely nutmeg inside the box, and his left foot shot takes a deflection of one of the Kilmarnock players. It might be Ash Taylor. Goes into the back of the net. What a start for St Johnstone. 3.5 minutes on the clock. St Johnstone 1, Kilmarnock 0.
He does really well, Alan. Good feet initially just to get himself inside the box, and he's looking to try and just cut it back, I think, across the six with a real bit of power. But what a quick fire start that is, and the celebration's quite interesting, isn't it? I've seen that for a couple of weeks now from Stevie May. I just wonder where it's come from. It's got to be like a computer game or something.
Well,
like
actually,
that.
we did a sports down in the road up in Perth, and he came along. What a fantastic young guy, I have to say. And we put out to the audience, a young boy. We said, what celebrations you wanted to see if he scores again? And the boy said, "Can you do a Ronaldo?" It's certainly not a Ronaldo he's done today,
not.
but it's got one. As you say,
like it though.
It's very, very good. He's bang in confidence after his goal last week. So what a start for St Johnstone there at home to Kilmarnock. Let's then get to Easter Road. Michael, I was asking your thoughts on Lee Johnson, the job that he's doing.
Well, you know that I've said before, Kenny, that there was an element of unknown and didn't really know how they were shaping up yet. But they went on a very good run of form, picked up a fair amount of points, got themselves to third in the table. Now they've gone on a run of 3 defeats, and there is an inconsistency there, and that's going to happen. But I thought he was, it was interesting in his interview that he spoke about, there is so much more improvement to come. And I think that's what you want to be hearing if you're a Hibs supporter. I think it's what you need to expect as well, because last season was obviously a massively disappointing season for Hibs. There's been a lot of money spent. They've got a massive squad, and Hibs really should be able to go up there and compete for the European spots. And I don't think they'll be a million miles away this season. I'm not sure they're going to have the consistency to be able to get third in the table, but that's where they've got to be trying to look towards and get to. Whether they do it this season or not, I'm not 100% sure. But Lee Johnson, I think you've got to give him a bit of time. Last Friday, they changed their system, this back three, and I thought they were impressive early on. They looked very comfortable, a lot of good interchange, which tells me that the players know what they're meant to be doing. They're coached well, so I've got to give them some credit for that. And time will tell results over a longer period of time whether this Hibs team is going to be able to get to the levels that they should be getting to with the squad and investment that's been made.
Michael, what do you like about the St Mirren side? What is the manager getting right there? It's been a terrific start to the season for them after a dreadful League Cup campaign.
Results, in all seriousness, and with results comes confidence, performance levels increase, and the belief goes through the roof, and that's what St Mirren have got just now. The thing that they were really struggling with when he first came in was that there was a whole lot of inconsistency. Oh, it's a wonderful ball from Joe Newell in behind, and it's a goal! What a goal from Hibs. honestly, this pass from Joe Newell, it splits the St Mirren defence.
Save Jamie McDonald.
He slices the defence. Slide rule ball in behind Strain, on for Chabraya, who plays it across the face of the goal, and Kucherevich is there to slide into the back of the net. That's an absolutely wonderful goal from Hibs, and we're only 6 minutes into the game. 1-0 to Hibs.
That's outstanding, Michael. He's got absolutely no right to find that space in between the full-back and centre-back. Unbelievable pass, probably up there with pass of the season actually, because he shapes as if he's going to play square and he just reverses it right in between. Defensively, there's a back five, a straight back five, and somehow Joe Newell manages to find the space. What an outstanding pass. I just wonder, who is it that scores, Michael, actually?
I thought it was Kucherevich.
Yeah, I just thought he looked marginally ahead of the ball, but we'll get another look at it. I think also there's an early change, Kenny, at Ibrox. It looks as if Yilmaz is struggling. Borna Barisic is looking to get ready.
That's a real shame as well, Leanne, I must say. I didn't want to come in with a goal.
Yeah, I can see it on the screen, Rory.
Yilmaz had started so brightly, Leanne. He's the best player on the pitch in the first 5 minutes.
It's offside. The goal's been disallowed.
Well done to Leanne. She spotted that very, very quickly. Obviously impossible for the angle you're at there, Michael, but watching that come in the screen, it looks so tight, Leanne. Yeah,
it was marginal, but I did just think he looked like there was at least probably half the body just in front as the ball came across. Which is a real shame, because what a wonderful assist it would have been, and a quick start from Hibs.
So pass of the season's getting taken off Joe Newell as well then?
Yes, absolutely. Revert back.
Falkirk have gone 1-0 up away to Queen of the South. Roman Burrell on 6 minutes. Some other goals in Scotland coming
Kenny,
through.
I've just watched the replay of that, and I've got to be honest that it shows you why VAR is needed, because certainly from my angle on the halfway line and from camera one, the replay I've just watched there, it's nigh on impossible to be able to tell that. So that's why you need VAR. You need it because that's so tight, so close. You would need the replays to be able to see that definitively.
Just had a great chance here at Starts Park, Kenny.
Yeah, Chris.
A great shot from Stuart Bannigan inside the box on his weaker right foot. He bends it round 3 or 4 players, and a fantastic save from Jamie McDonald. Palms it away, but Thistle have put the pressure on Raith, but they're starting to come back into it now.
Chance elsewhere.
Yeah, it was Hibs almost getting themselves in front. It was Joe Newell's been involved in everything. He's lively. He was on the edge of the box. He just dinked one over the back of the defence, and Ryan Porteous comes in on the right hand side, a tight angle. I don't know whether he was trying to play it across the face for anyone. It looked as if it was just going to nestle in at the back post.
Oh, we've got a goal! We've got a goal, Rick. I'm going to see Richard because he's sitting beside me, Kenny. It is a goal, isn't it, Richard? Yes, it's for Cove. Yeah,
can he tell you the scorer as well?
It's Reynolds, yeah. I tell you what, they were under a lot of pressure there. Sanders had went close with the header, and the 3 or 4 corner kicks in a row, but that one, just Aki's couldn't deal with it, and it was put in with Reynolds. A really good start for Cove, and as I say, it was Aki's that started it better, but set pieces, it looks as if we're going to struggle this afternoon, Aki's. So 1-0 to Cove. Great
start for Cove. Not a great start on his return to Brighton for Graham Potter.
Kenny. I've just seen a replay of that. For me, Kucherevich is behind the ball. He's behind the ball. I've just seen a replay of it, and my eyes must be deceiving me if that's not the case. He's onside.
Michael, the one thing I can't believe that they're going to get wrong is an offside.
No, they can't.
That's the one thing. Well, penalty decisions, they're subjective.
I'm sitting here with Brian McLaughlin, and we just watched the replay. He is behind the ball.
Yeah,
he's
take it away.
Goal. Hodgson was robbed in the middle of the pitch. He's dilly-dallying on the ball. I don't know why he's trying to pull the ball down. He could just hook it clear. He's tried to take a touch. He get his pocket picked. They've broke forward. Raith Rovers have broke forward in fantastic pace, to be honest. I'm trying to see who's burnt inside. Conley, I think it is, yep, cut inside on his left foot, and Aidan Conley, and he's whipped it into the top corner. A fantastic finish, and 1-0 Raith Rovers.
Oh man, Bobby Lynn's just hit the post from 30 yards. It was an absolutely brilliant left foot shot there, both winger. Still 0-0 between them and there, but what a strike. He nearly had 4 goals in 5 games there.
And what a start to Sports Sunday afternoon. I tell you, not a happy return for Graham Potter. Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Chelsea 0 in the early stages there. As we heard, St Johnstone 1-0 up at home to Kilmarnock. Falkirk 1-0 up away to Queen of the South. Just going through any other score lines in Scotland for you this afternoon. Alloa, they're going well. 1-0 up up at home to Clyde. Luke Donnelly on 10 minutes. As we just heard there from Derek, Mark Reynolds with a goal on 10 for Cove Rangers. 1-0 up away to Hamilton Accies. Actually bang up to date with the scores, Liam. We need to see a replay of this when it looked very, very tight.
We do, but I just wonder, Michael, does the ball go forward though?
He's behind the ball.
I know the replay that I seen, it looked like the ball goes forward and he looks marginally offside. I would need to see it again, and again, it is nigh on impossible at times until you draw the lines on it and you get a proper look at it.
But he's behind the ball. He's behind the ball.
That's what I'm saying. I would need to look at it again because to me, I'm not seeing that. It looked like the ball went forward and both players were probably in line with each other, but I think his body looked off.
No, well, certainly from what I've just seen, he looked onside behind the ball. I mean, look, this is the incredible thing. I said it just before I saw the replay that this is why you need VAR, because it's impossible for the officials to see something this close. I've just seen a replay. I can't believe it's been given offside. Now, and Kenny makes a perfect point. You cannot be getting VAR decisions wrong on offside. It is black and white. I'm astonished.
What we do know is that the clubs all now have the videos down there. Lee Johnson will have seen that at half time. He may or may not talk to his players about that if he feels they've been hard done by. Certainly, if they have been hard done by, or he feels that, we'll hear about it all from him in post-match and sports between 5 and 6 o'clock. So potentially a controversial situation there at Easter Road. That early goal for the home side chopped off. Let's get to Tannadice. Craig Easton, what's happening there in the early stages?
Kenny, it's been pretty lively. I mean, Dundee United have started, as probably the better team in terms of possession. They've had a couple of half chances, but Motherwell are just in the United box at the moment, and it's a strike. Oh, it's a good save by Mark Birighitti. Motherwell did have an opportunity when Kevin Van Ven went through 1-1. Ryan Edwards got back, made a block, and Mark Birighitti made a save. It ultimately was said to be flagged offside, but I wasn't sure on that one. That would have been one for VAR. In terms of Dundee United, in terms of chances, Stephen Fletcher had an overhead kick that flashed wide from a corner, and they've been looking more dangerous from set pieces. Nothing much in the game at the moment. Like William Fox said in his pre-match words, a nervy encounter at the moment.
Yeah, a lot to play for in that game. We'll get to Alan just in a minute. An early goal for St Johnstone there, but Leanne, some more information coming through in that disallowed goal at Easter Road. Yeah,
again, just one to look for when we see the replay, but apparently it's the first pass, the worldly pass from Joe Newell is the one that's been offside, Michael, so we'll hopefully get a look at that for confirmation. But it seems that the first run in the initial movement was offside.
Right, we will get back to that one. We'll hear what Lee Johnson's got to say on that. Let's then get to Alan Preston with Dermot Part. A great start for the home side there, Alan.
A brilliant start. Stevie May giving them the lead in 4 minutes. Kenny, lovely nutmeg on Mayo at the edge of the box, and he shot with left foot, hit Ash Taylor on the inside of the calf and goes into the back of the net. And Stevie May, it's a resurgence of his career a little bit, and he played his best football when Stevie McLean was his partner. He's got Nicky Clark, who I think has done a wonderful job since he's come from Dundee United to help Stevie May recapture some form again. It's been a decent comeback though from Kelly. They've had a lot of the ball, not really any chances. We've got 15 minutes exactly on the clock with this 1-0 to St Johnstone.
Yeah, that programme I was telling you about in Perth, Alan, with Stevie May joined us, he was talking about his partnership with Nicky Clark. I think there was a lot of surprise that night that United allowed Nicky Clark to go. I mean, he's a guy with a proven track record.
Well, I was surprised, I really was, when Dundee United have not really got a prolific goal scorer, and he would be, most of the seasons that he's been at United, he's been their top scorer probably, I would imagine, and brings a wealth of experience to the team as well when the going gets tough, as it has done for Dundee United. So really surprised that they sold him, but brilliant for St Johnstone. And I think it's a real coup for Callum Davidson, and you can just see the difference he's made. I was on a programme with David Curry on transfer deadline day, and he says to me, what will be the surprise signing of the season? And I actually said Nicky Clark, because I think he'll bring so much to St Johnstone, and it's been the case so far.
Yeah, you're usually spot on with these things, Alan. Let's just go through the latest scores then. Dundee United 0, Motherwell 0, Hibs 0, St Mirren 0, Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0, St Johnstone 1, Kilmarnock 0. In the Championship, Arbroath 0, Ayr United 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Cove Rangers 1, Wraith Rovers 1, Partick Thistle 0. In League 1, Airdrie 0, Montrose 0, Alloa 1, Clyde 0, Dunfermline 0, Kelty Hearts 0, Peterhead 0, FC Edinburgh 0, and Queen of the South 0. Falkirk 1. In League 2, Albion Rovers 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Annan 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife 0, Elgin City 0, Elgin down to 10 men. Stirling Albion, what a run there on 1-0 up at home to Bonnyrigg Rose, and Stranraer 0, Forfar 0, and down in the English Premier League, a full time from the lunchtime kick-off. Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1, Kevin De Bruyne with a goal. Bournemouth 0, Spurs 0, Brentford 0, Wolves 0. Brighton 2-0 up now at home to Chelsea. What a nightmare return for Graham Potter. Crystal Palace 0, Southampton 0, Newcastle United 0, Aston Villa 0. The tea time kick-off there, Fulham against Everton, and the evening kick-off, Liverpool at home to a Leeds side that are desperately struggling at the moment. What's then happening, Rory Lloyd?
United have come right back into this game up at Gayfield. They've had two brilliant chances. Josh Mullen on the counter-attack, Logan Chalmers put him through, and a brilliant challenge by Keegan Jacobs to make sure his shot deflected over the bar. Then from the resulting corner, Brad Young, the Villa loanee, who's at Ayr United kind of right-left winger, can play both sides, had a header that went into the side netting. So really exciting game here at Gayfield. Arbroath looking much more like the Arbroath of last season, but still 0-0.
Yeah, as things stand, Ayr United still top of that very, very tight championship table. Very, very tight at Ibrox, Rory Loy.
Yes, it is indeed. Rangers came flying out the traps in the first 5 minutes. They started the game really, really well. So disappointed for Ridvan Yilmaz, who's been so patient to wait his opportunity in the team, and he'd started the game so well, driving forward on a couple of occasions. But Borna Barisic is on for him, as Leanne mentioned. Lundstrom did really, really well to close down and Aberdeen in the midfield, which forced a pass to Ben Davies at the back. He played it out to Kent. Kent hit the byline, which you don't always see. Did really, really well. Cut one to Sakala. He volleyed over. Kent himself has hit the side netting. Aberdeen have had 3 corners themselves. It's end to end without any real clear-cut chances at the moment, Kenny. It's still 0-0.
Yes, a tough one for Yilmaz. Apparently they spent about £3 million on him, Leanne. He was one of the, if you could get any positive from the midweek performance against Napoli, I thought he did really well. Yeah, he did, and as Rory mentioned, you know, you had to be patient for his opportunity. Then it comes and so early on into the game he just makes the block. I think it was his quad that looked as if it had gone. You just hope it's not a long-term injury for his sake, such a young player. I think when you come anywhere to try and settle in, the quickest way you can settle in is by playing football games and getting right in amongst it. So really disappointing for his sake, and as you mentioned, a lot of money spent on him as well, so you want to try and see what he can offer.
Definitely, yep. Kenny notes a difference in the closing down and the tempo and the pace at which Rangers are sprinting to the ball. Lundstrom's done it, Tavernier's done it a few times, so good early signs in terms of Rangers' work ethic. But what about the crowd? How are they responding? Does it feel edgy there, Rory? Not really at the moment. Rangers have probably shown enough so far to get them looking forward to the 90 minutes ahead. They started to come out the traps really well. They gave him a big cheer as the kick-off. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's status at this club, I think everyone wants him to do well, and that shows in the crowd's reaction today, and I think they're just hoping that Rangers can produce the goods. Rory, there was a chance when I looked up, was it Fashion Sakala, the ball came across and he went with his left foot. Actually, just a glancing header in the middle of the box, and I thought he would have had a better chance to get it on target. He made it look difficult as opposed to just going and attacking it properly. Yeah, but it's good to see him coming in at the back post.
Kenny, what a chance here at Tannadice for Motherwell. Kevin Van Veen broke down the right hand side, he cut back, and I think it was Connor Shields. He took a touch just about 8 yards out, and his left foot shot blazed it over the bar. He should have done better from that range. That should have been 1-0 Motherwell. Yeah, here's the replay now. Just seen him sitting with his head in his hands, Leanne. Here's the replay. It just comes back to him. Yeah.
He actually arrives probably just a fraction too early as well.
And then he ends up with too much time, I think, on his hands. He probably, I would have said he might, he'd been better taking that one first time.
Actually, I think he's expecting Craig to
chance for Dirk. Oh, he's turning King inside out. Oh, he's went down. Oh, it's in the net. Aberdeen have scored. I'll need a second to check who scored it, but fantastic play from Dirk. He turns Leon King inside out. One chop too many. He should get the shot away. He ends up going down, doesn't get the penalty, and it's absolutely battered into the back of the net. I'll need a little bit of help from Leanne to see who it was.
I think, is it Connor Barron?
Is it Barron, is it? Yeah. That scored, but Aberdeen have scored. Dux looked dangerous. He gave King a hard time a couple of times. Like I said, I don't know if it would have been a penalty. Leanne can look at that one, but it doesn't matter. Phenomenal finish by Barron, and it's Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1.
Yeah, he does really well, because Miofsky's standing just square on the 6-yard line as well, Rory. I thought as Duke going to manage to square it to him, then he goes down, but Barron does really well, because he just arrives at late run from the middle of the pitch, takes a decision away, whether it's a penalty or not, puts the ball in the back of the net.
Just seen it on the big screen again. I think it may have been a penalty, but it doesn't matter. It's in the back of the net. And to answer your question about the crowd from earlier, Kenny, it'll be interesting to see how they react in the last 25 minutes of this half.
Well, Rory, just seeing pictures coming in, the Aberdeen support, as you'd expect, going absolutely nuts there in the corner. And my goodness, the manager gave them great hope before this game. He was incredibly positive.
Yeah. They did, Rory. I'm actually just looking at the point Duke goes to ground. James Tavernier turns his back on play to remonstrate to the referee that it's not a penalty, and Barron still at that point hasn't arrived yet and made contact with the ball.
Yeah, I mean
completely switching off.
Yeah, you're right. And to be fair as well, Duke looks a right handful. I don't get to see Aberdeen all that often. He ran Leon King down the right hand side as well earlier in the game.
Excellent run.
Yeah.
You know,
I know Willie likes him. He speaks a lot about him in this programme.
It's a goal at Tannadice, and it's a goal for Motherwell. Problems again for Dundee United down that left hand side. Motherwell attack down the right. It's hard to see it, and Jane's helped me out here, because it's Solholm, Sondre Solholm with the finish. It was a great ball in the box. I think someone had the header. It might have been Connor Shields again. A good save with Mark Berigati. We could only palm it up into the air, and it was Solholm on hand to smash it into the roof of the net. 1-0 to Motherwell.
Yeah, we've just seen Stevie Hamill very calm and controlled in the touchline, just waiting for the replay to come into the studio here, the Sportsline studio. It's just coming in now. Leanne's the ball into the box, saved. It was over the line. It was his goal.
It was, yeah. Disappointing. The goalkeeper's going to be so disappointed.
And the goalkeeper's got to do a lot better, and that's Liam Fox has changed his goalkeeper about from last week when we saw Carl Johan Eriksson. Maybe could have done better with the first goal. He's put Mark Berigati in, and I think he's got to tip that one over the bar. It's a good header. He's got who was it that actually put it in? Was it Solholm, or was it him with the header and someone then smashed it in? No,
it's over the line from the header.
Okay, is it?
Yeah,
right.
It's definitely Solholm's goal from what I've seen. But you're right, goalkeeper's got to do better. I think he actually goes to theatrically tip it over the bar and gets it all wrong, and puts the ball up the way rather than up and over. It's a poor one defensively. Dundee United, they've switched off. They've dropped a runner in terms of the header initially, but the goalkeeper's got to do much better. Got to deal with that.
Yeah, and they've also struggled at times with crosses into the box. They've struggled to stop the cross at source, and they've also struggled when the ball comes in to stop the initial header. And yes, you're wanting your goalkeeper to do better, but I think that's been a factor of Dundee United's play in the last couple of weeks.
Do you know what? At times I actually think that's what Motherwell don't do enough of, though, is actually getting the ball wide and the ball into the box. I always feel with players like Van Veen, when you've got aerial threats like Solholm in there from that second phase as well, go and give them something to attack. I always feel like it's far too nice, and Kevin Van Veen comes and links the game really well. But actually, when you've got target players in there, you've got to go and use it. So it's good to see that Motherwell are actually using that asset that they've got.
It's funny you saying that, Leanne, because Van Veen's actually been the one in this game that's been out wide, putting the balls into the box. When you want him as your striker, he scored 10 goals this season in all competitions. You want him round about the box. He does a lot of great work outside of it, but you want him in there causing problems, because if you to watch Dundee United in the last few weeks, and Stephen Hamill obviously has, crosses would be one thing that you're going to try and cause problems.
Yeah, worrying times for Dundee United fans. Stranraer have gone 1-0 up at home to Forfar. James Hilton at 20. Yep, take away.
One off the line, Kenny. Sakala does really, really well. Plays a 1-2 down the right hand side, flashes it across goal. I think it actually comes off Liam Scales, and it looks like it's going to roll into net, but Ross McCrory managed to get rid of it. Decent response from Rangers.
So where are we? So the goals then. Stranraer 1-0 up against Forfar. James Hilton with the goal there. Dunfermline Athletic 1, Kelty Hearts 0. Nikolai Todorov in 22 minutes. Airdrie 1, Montrose 0. Lewis Jameson on the scores sheet there. Falkirk now 2-0 up. There's a double for Burrell on 21 minutes. 2-0 up away to Queen of the South. In the English Premier League, Bournemouth 1, Spurs 0. Kiefer Moore on 22 minutes. East Fife have gone 1-0 up against 10-man Elgin City. Scott Mercer on 22, and the timing just going through the goal time for that Connor Barron goal for Aberdeen. The 21st minute, the Dons went ahead there. Motherwell, as we heard there, Sondre Johansson on 22 minutes, and that's you right up to date with all the goal news. I mean, the pressure, Alan Preston and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst this afternoon is huge.
Yeah, it's massive. It really is. It's going to grow. You know, in Aberdeen, if it's a game Aberdeen fans want to win, it's down at Ibrox because of the history between the clubs in the previous years. It's a massive result for Jim Goodwin as well. You know, he's got aspirations to finish third, which I hope he doesn't, because I've got a side bet with Willie.
What's the stake?
Well, Willie waited until he had a few glasses of wine last week, then decided to text me when they're 5 points clear and asked for a bet on a bottle of champagne. I said, OK, I'll take that. You still want the 5 points? I'm typical Aberdonian. Of course he said yes. So they've got a 5-point handicap start.
Don't worry, Alan, we'll remind him of that throughout the season. But the Dons going very, very nicely this afternoon. He was confident before the game, and I know Duke is a player that he really likes, Alan. What do you make of him? Because Jim Goodwin's recruited well. Yes.
Equaliser at Ibrox. It's 1-8. Antonio Cholak scored a fantastic ball from Lundstrom down the side. Malik Tillman squares it to Cholak, who rolls it into the corner for one apiece.
That's an excellent goal, Rory.
Yeah, really good.
The first pass, again, not identical to the Joe Newell pass that we were describing earlier on, but the types of passes I don't think you see enough of in football at times. Everything goes sideways and wide. That one's just a straight ball. Defence splitting again, and Tillman does really, really well.
Yeah,
you know,
good
he takes
awareness.
it just right in. The pace of the pass is excellent though, because it's right in his stride. Cholak takes up a brilliant position just in the middle of the box. Stewart goes to close down Tillman, and Cholak's just given the yards of space that he needs to go and convert. You've got a game in your hands, that's for sure.
That's definitely. Just before that as well, Kent had a chance to run right at a centre-back one-on-one, and he got dispossessed, and the crowd did not react well, so the crowd are much happier now. They've equalised.
Yeah, he's some player choice, been some signing. That's Rangers 1, Aberdeen 1.
That's going to help Van Bronckhorst. Rangers getting the equaliser that quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't give time for the crowd to get on their back, really.
What about the game you're at there in McDermott Park, Alan? We've seen anything from Kilmarnock?
Yeah, very good. Kilmarnock are dominating this side that they're playing against. St Johnstone, it's all Kilmarnock. They've got all the ball. St Johnstone defending, as we know. And just as that goal was going in, described by Eastie at Tannadice, Kerr McElroy had a shot from about 30 yards, just whistled by the post. Kilmarnock looked very good, very nice on the eye, but still St Johnstone lead by 1-0.
What's happening Easter Road, Michael Stewart?
It's been a pretty good game. There's been end-to-end stuff. Hibs have had quite a few opportunities. They've been in behind the St Mirren defence on a number of occasions. Trevor Carson's had to make a couple of saves. There's another one that's drifted past the post. Noah Kenna had a strike from the edge of the box. But St Mirren have been able to get up the park on a few occasions as well. David Marshall's been called into action on a couple of moments, and he's come up with some good saves. So at the moment, you know, we're 20 odd minutes into the game, and it's been a lively start from both sides. Hibs probably just about edging it, but it's still 0-0.
Kelty Hearts have equalised away to Dunfermline, so it's one apiece there. Darren Lyme with a goal on the half-hour mark. So I'll run through the latest scores for you right here on BBC Radio Scotland. Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1, Sunder Solholm with a goal on 22 minutes, Hibs 0, St Mirren 0, Rangers 1, Aberdeen 1, Connor Barron with the opener on 21, Cholak a very nice move equalising on 27, and an own goal from Ash Taylor. It was Stevie May with a shot deflected off Ash Taylor on 4 minutes, has given St Johnstone a 1-0 advantage at home to Kilmarnock. Let's then get into the Championship and get round the grounds. Kenny Crawford, Arbroath against Ayr United.
Yeah, 28 minutes gone. Josh Mullins just whipped in a corner for Ayr United. He's been one of their main threats. He's got 3 goals for the Honest Men on loan from Livy so far this season. He scored in the midweek win over Partick Thistle. He's had a couple of shots cleared and deflected wide. Ayr United have really taken this game by the scruff of the neck in the last 15 minutes or so. Since Arbroath really hit the post through Bobby Lynn, they've not had another chance since then, but still 0-0 between Arbroath and Ayr United.
Chris Doolan is at Starks Park. Chris, Raith Rovers, good value for the 1-0 advantage there.
Raith have just scored.
Oh, right, good timing.
You couldn't have timed it any better. A long throw into the box. It's missed everybody, and Aidan Conley yet again finds space in the box, and he hooks in with his left foot into the bottom corner. And to be fair, Raith Rovers have been absolutely fantastic so far. It's the first time I've seen them play this type of football up close, and to be fair, it's been a joy to watch. Thistle have played into their hands a wee bit. They try and go long to Anton Dowds. And unfortunately for Thistle, Spencer and Brown are sitting in front of the back four and they're just mopping everything up, and Dowd has been a wee bit detached, but every time Raith Rovers pick up the ball, they're so composed, their patterns of play have been fantastic, and you know, the 2 goals you'll see have been great finishes from Aidan Conley, and their well-deserved lead of 2-0.
Yeah, double for Aidan Conley there. Worrying signs, I think, perhaps of Partick Thistle in recent weeks. A lot of people had them down as favourites, one of the favourites certainly, in a very tight championship race. Let's then get to Derek Ferguson. Cove Rangers with the early advantage there, Derek.
Yeah, and they're in pretty much complete control, to be honest with you, Kenny. Aki's, you know, pretty powder puff, got to be honest with you. You take O'Reilly and Martin out of the side, they're certainly weakened, but that physicality, not got that in their game, so they've had the better chances of Cove. The only chance that Aki's have really, well, they've not created, it was a poor header back from Sanders, and it was Lewis Smith getting in, but it was a pretty tame shot at goal. So you've got to see, as we go into the latter stages of this first half at Cove, just, you know, enjoying their football at the moment, creating 2 or 3 chances. I think if we get a second, that could be game, set and match. I know it's early days, but that's just the feeling you get at the moment.
Yep, into League One. Airdrie 1, Montrose 0.
Partick Thistle game.
Yep.
Kenny, go back to that Partick Thistle game. I think that'll be the last 3 games now. They've conceded 4 goals and they've already conceded 2 today, so real question marks.
Absolutely, Kenny. It's a real worry for Ian McCall there, no doubt about that. Goals going in all over Scotland in League One. Airdrie 1, Montrose 0. Clyde have just equalised away to Alloa, so 1 apiece there. Dunfermline 1, Kelty Hearts 1. Peterhead 0, FC Edinburgh 0, and Queen of the South 0, Falkirk 2. In Scottish League 2, Albion Rovers 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Annan Athletic 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife 1, 10-man Elgin City 0, Stirling Albion 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Stranraer 1, Forfar 0, and in the English Premier League, the full time from early, Manchester City winning 1-0 away to Leicester City. Bournemouth 1, Spurs 0, Brentford 0, Wolves 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0, Southampton 0, and Newcastle United 0, Aston Villa 0. Craig Easton, any hope at all for United fans? Any positivity you can bring them there from Tannadice?
A little bit of positivity, Kenny. I saw Jamie McGrath, nice bit of combination play with Kieran Freeman. There was a 1-2 down the right hand side, but it's that final ball for Dundee United at the moment. They're struggling to find any quality round about the opposition box. They almost got another bite at the cherry when Callum Slattery gave the ball away about 20 yards from goal, but once again, as is Biatch when he was on the left hand side, fired into the side net, and so it's just that, it's the final decision making, run it in and around the box that's wetting them down. There's some tidy play in the midfield, but I just got the feeling that Motherwell are a little bit more comfortable in this game, and they've got the biggest goal threat. Any defence, both defences, when they come under pressure, they look like they're not really too confident in terms of how they're dealing with it. So, you know, a little bit more quality around about the edge of the box, and from both sides you could see more goals here at Tannadice.
Curtis Roberts, the man with the equaliser for Clyde against Alloa Athletic. Just a wee update, Napoli are 4-0 up at home to Sassuolo in Serie A. We spoke about them midweek. How fantastic have they been? Neil McCann was looking up the odds on the programmes. We covered that game with Rangers on the night. 20-1 if you fancy it for the champions. You've seen many better teams this season, Alan?
No, they've been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you know what, I love watching Napoli when Maradona was there briefly and won the title. Can they do it again? It would be a wonderful story. It really would. Moving into the Diego Maradona Stadium as well, it would just be fantastic.
Alan, I'll spare his blushes. Derek Ferguson in the programme today with Lewis Ferguson on that night. His Bologna side ran Napoli very close just 10 days ago. Lewis himself got his debut goal for Bologna at the weekend. Yeah, a fantastic young man. To hear him speaking about the game, but also just for a young man, Alan, to go abroad. He's doing his homework. He's got classes twice a week, learning Italian. He's loving life over there, desperate to improve as a player. It's we all love to see it, don't we, the Scots going abroad and doing well.
That is, it's great. You know, we had it with the likes of Souness and Archibald and guys like that. Then it's stopped now. We've got obviously Hickey gone over, Doig gone over, young Lewis gone over. It's brilliant, great to see. It really is, and I know for a fact now, Kenny, that a lot of Italian clubs and Spanish clubs are looking seriously at the Scottish Premier League for young players.
That's brilliant. Did any of you guys, did anyone ever knock back a move abroad? Anyone ever have a chance to not do it or go abroad and enjoy it? Any experiences?
I knocked back school in second year. I just went training.
I would say the message you sent me when I said how well your boy did in the programme the other night.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder, Kenny,
Yes.
is he my boy? That's what I'm trying to go back 24 years ago to see who the milkman was.
But his story's brilliant, isn't it, Derek? And you were saying actually your older boy's probably a slightly better player, but it was all about the attitude of Lewis.
I didn't have the mentality to do Darren, but that's one thing that Lewis has got in abundance. He's got that right mentality, the right attitude, a real hunger for the game. He just wants to get better. I wish the Saki side had that this afternoon.
Just looking at pictures coming up on the screen, Rory, is that Michael Beale at Ibrox today?
Well, I'd heard rumours that he was here. I didn't want to start any rumours myself.
Feel free, Rory.
Rumour confirmed.
I had a few messages coming in from a few friends.
He's sharing a few mint humbugs with somebody in the director's box.
Right, okay. Well,
I know they lost last night, but he's doing a great job, isn't he?
Yes, you know, and I don't think even if the Rangers job became vacant, it would be something that would bring Michael Beale back to Glasgow. I just don't see it. I think he's got a project down there, and you know, from what you hear, everybody wants to get to England, so I don't know why you would leave a job in England if you know to come back to Scotland just now. But there's no doubt about it. He's a top coach.
I think that was the problem with Leanne.
Yeah, on you go.
Sorry, Kenny.
Yes,
sorry to interrupt. Anton Dowds broke away. It was a mishit clearance from Kieran Ngwenya at full back for Raith, who's been absolutely fantastic. He mistimes a clearance that lands at the feet of Anton Dowds, who should pull the trigger 16 yards out, and he chops back inside. It somehow finds its way to Cammy Smith, and he blazes it over the bar from 13 yards. But a great chance for Thistle, and they're going to have to take one of these because Raith Rovers are getting stronger as this game goes on.
Yeah, Rovers with a 2-0 advantage. What are you saying, Alan?
No, I just think Stephen Gerrard losing Michael Beale at the time he didn't help, you know, and it was Gerrard said when he was up in Scotland, if he become half as good as coach as Michael Beale was at that point, he would be delighted, you know. So I think that was a big loss for Stephen Gerrard when he decided to go his own way.
Alan, I can tell you, I said this before in the programme with Andy Halliday, and he was talking about, you know, the fantastic performances he had in Europe. He put almost entirely down to Michael Beale. The preparation, the tactics. He said he was a fantastic coach.
Yeah, and it looks like that. Certainly the case with QPR. When Mark Warburton was there before, another previous Rangers manager. He lost his job and they went and got Michael Beale in, and it's been seamless. You know, he's done a wonderful job. Yeah, last night would be a disappointing result for him, but it shows you what a good coach he is, and I'm sure QPR won't be his last stop. He'll go into bigger and better things.
I remember being on an SFA course. I think he was up at Aberdeen, and while he was at Liverpool, and he was working with young players at the time, and even just these little sessions that he put on with the Aberdeen Academy up there were excellent. Just little 1v1 things, being able to, you know, protect the ball. He likes contact. He understands how players improve by practicing at the right level and the right intensity, and I really enjoyed it, and I just thought, you know, even at that stage it would be exciting to see where he went.
I'm interested, Michael, to talk about coaches when the guys talk about the ones that put on extra special sessions. I mean, I suppose Sir Alex aside, was there anyone down at United that particularly took these sessions, or other managers that you've had that just you thought, God, this is extra special what he's doing here in the training ground?
Yeah, it was extra special when I was over in Turkey, and Thomas Dahl spoke in German. It got translated into 5 different languages before you got a drill going. That was extra special.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis was saying that. He was talking about the manager having to communicate, and Lewis was saying the other night he has to speak proper English. As he said, he has to speak very, very slowly. He gets told off. But loving life in Italy. Airdrie 2-0 up at home to Montrose. Lewis Jameson in the second there in 38 minutes. In the English Premier League, Crystal Palace 1-0 up at home to Southampton. Odson Edward with the goal there on 38 minutes.
Kenny, sorry to interrupt, but there seems to be an incident at the Dundee United Motherwell game. John Beaton just indicated that he's going over to look at the screen. It was a challenge between Tony Watt. I'm not sure who it was, Craig, in the middle of the pitch.
I think it looks like Sean Gossett's down.
Sean Gossett is. It's a high boot from Tony Watt. They're interesting actually, because his studs are showing.
Big chance.
Straight leg.
Big chance. Sakala. Oh, good save.
I think Sean Goss just got there before Watt. I don't think there was oh, here we go, Leanne. John Beaton's come over and he's shown a straight red card to Tony Watt.
Yeah.
So VAR coming into play there, Leanne.
Yeah, Tony Watt, he almost motions to Stamp, just the way that he looks to try and play the ball, catches him mid-shin. Dundee United were actually on the attack at the time,
That was right, yeah.
It's one again, VAR's come in and looked at. I really don't think there was much intent from Tony Watt, the way that he looks to motion. He looks really disappointed because I think he knows, Craig, that he's got it wrong. There's not too many complaints getting off the pitch, and I think that often tells you.
I don't think there was any malice in it, Leanne, because I didn't really pick up on it. It looked like just a challenge that, Sean Goss gets here too quickly, and then
is that the right decision? You've seen a close. Is that the right decision for you?
Look, the motion where his leg goes, as I say, it's a poor touch from Tony Watt. The ball bounces up. He then almost lifts his leg to try and control. Motions towards the player. It doesn't look like there's an awful lot of contact though. I don't know what John Beaton's seen on the screen. I would need to see it again.
Yeah, we've got a penalty. Sorry, Lan, to come in. I've got a penalty. It's for Cove. Mate, it's Scully. We're over on that wide left-hand area, and I think it's for tanning, and it's just in the edge of the box, and again it's hard to see your first take on it, but the arm must have been outstretched. The referee was there 10 yards, so he was straight away pointed to the spot. So Cove get a chance, get 2 up. Megason going to take it, and he's going to run up right-footed. Referee just making sure the rest of the players are outside the box, just blows his whistle. Megason right-footed, cool as you like, down the centre, 2-0 to Cove.
Yeah, some player, isn't he, Mitch Meganson?
Goes a cucumber.
He knows where to find the back of the net. It's a penalty. What a great start for Cove Rangers. Looked like getting into the break, 2-0 up. An equaliser for Bonnyrigg Rose away at Stirling Albion. Kevin Smith on 40 minutes. An incredible scoreline.
Penalty, Wraith Rovers.
Yep, take it away.
Kenny.
Yep.
Oh, it's a red. Oh, it's a yellow card. Sorry, I thought you flashed him a red card there. It's a ball in. It's from one full-back to the other full-back. It's Millen whips it in the box. Everybody's expecting it to go to the other side to Ngwenya, and it looks as if Akinola has pulled down 23 Dylan Easton in the middle of the box. I was too busy following the ball because it was going from one full-back to the other, and they were wrestling in the box, and he's manhandled onto the ground. So I don't actually know what he's done in the box, but it's a penalty kick now, and Kyle Connell's got the ball in his hands, ready to step up and take the penalty.
Just waiting on that to come through. Brighton Hove Albion 3, Chelsea 0.
Get in there.
Trevor Challam, who said that?
Me, Kenny.
Why?
Gilmore will be sitting delighted.
Is he going to sniff at all, Alan?
He's coming off the bench, but
they're back in there. We've got a goal for the Ackies. Andy Winter, and they needed that big time. Well, we've got 2 or 3 minutes before half time. Lewis Smith down the right hand side, smacks it across goal, and there was Winter just to put it and took a slight deflection. 2-1.
Aki's right back in it there
as well, Kenny.
Yep, take it away.
Penalty from Kyle Connell. Very, very composed, very confident finish. Drills it low and hard into the goalie's bottom right hand corner, sends David Mitchell the wrong way, and it's 3-0 Wraith Rovers.
A flurry of goals as we approach half time. Just briefly, we're all interested in Billy Gilmore, Alan. What a talent. So he's getting the odd chance, is he?
Yeah, when they went in, the first game he was in, they beat Leicester 5-2. Then they went to Anfield and drew 3-3. The new manager comes in, and he's got to bide his time. He's just got to take his time and be patient, and he will be. But he's involved in the first team every week, which is good, and hopefully he gets on today against his former club.
What's happening Easter Road, Mike? The shit all got a bit quiet there.
Yeah, it's just sort of petering out a little bit as we approach half time. Hibs started the game brightly. They had a lot of opportunities to get themselves in front. As I mentioned before, St Mirren managed to break up the park on a couple of occasions and test David Marshall, but yeah, we're approaching half time now, and it's just sort of dying a death a little bit. It's still 0-0, although there's a free kick for St Mirren inside Hibs half, and I think it's Joe Newell at the back. He's just shoved, is it Strain round the back, and the two of them are just getting a wee talking to by the referee. I don't think anything's going to happen. VAR will be getting involved, unlike what sounds like is a ridiculous decision at Tannadice for a red card.
I don't know about ridiculous.
I don't think so, Michael. I don't think so. I've seen a clip of it. I don't think so. I think it's justified.
Well, I've seen a clip of it, and it's absolutely outrageous. It's never a red card. Never a red card. He doesn't touch him. He doesn't touch him. If you want a red card somebody for that, you'll be sending folk off left, right and centre every day of the week. That is never a red card.
We'll see it again. What I would say in the defence of Tony Watt is that the ball's bouncing. So I think he takes a bad touch and he goes to try and then control it again. There's not a lot of contact from what I've seen.
There's none. He doesn't touch him. And you're right, Leanne, the ball's there, his foot's dangling there. He doesn't make any contact with him. It is an absolutely outrageous decision, sending a player off for that.
Right, that'll be discussed in sports scene this evening. Yes, half-time?
Half-time, yep, half-time at Starts Park, 2-0, 3-0, Wraith Rovers.
Half-time, Kenny, Hamilton Accies 1, Cove Rangers 2.
Thanks, guys. Another goal just before the break for Airdrie, 3-0 up now at home to Montrose. And Rory, we heard you a bit earlier. Was there a chance with Sakala there at Ibrox?
Yeah, he missed a. It was right in the middle of all the penalty incidents. He missed a one-on-one. He was played in, but Keller Roos was off his line very, very quickly to shut down the space and the angle. Had it been Cholak, it might have been a different outcome. However, he saved it. I must say as well, I've seen him a few times for the under-21s, and he scored today. You know, Jim Goodwin must be delighted. Connor Barron's back. What a big future he's got. He's been outstanding in the middle of the pitch so far for Aberdeen.
Rory, it's incredible to think he was out in loan for as long as he was, and then was brought back in again towards the tail end of last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's been really, really good, I must say. And going out on loan can work for you or against you, and getting those games under his belt's obviously worked for him. He's been brought back into the club, and I think he'll be an integral part of what Aberdeen do for the rest of the season if he stays fit. He's been so good.
One apiece there.
Half-time at St Johnstone. St Johnstone 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Thanks, Alan. Michael, we've just seen some pictures coming in. A penalty shout there?
Well, I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
There's a free kick being given, but the referee is hanging about.
Is there a check?
He's been asked to go over and look at it.
He's going to give a penalty, Michael.
Is it a definite handball?
Richard Tate, he kind of crouches down, he turns to his right hand side, his right arm's extended out. It hits the lower part of his arm.
Chris Cadden was definitely, he was claiming for it straight away as soon as he played that ball.
I'll be very surprised if this is not a penalty.
Well, interesting. I'm waiting to see if I get a replay of it at any point.
Right, so here it goes now in the studio.
Yeah, he kind of turns his back slightly in the ball. His right arm, as I say, is extended out, and it catches the lower part of his right arm.
I'm going to say no handball before I've even seen it. There you go.
Good save! Oh, it's a chance! Oh, it's a goal! John Lundstrom scored! It's 2-1 to Rangers. The ball falls to Tavernier on the edge of the box. He shoots, Kellerus gets down, he saves it, and then it's cut back. John Lundstrom, who smashes it into the roof of the net. Just on the cusp of half-time, it's 2-1 to Rangers.
Huge goal there at Ibrox. They're still awaiting the VAR check at Easter Road for a potential handball, a potential penalty.
Yeah, penalty's been awarded, Kenny, and Richard Tate's been yellow carded, which means that the referee thinks it's intentional.
What is that? Do you think that's intentional?
Half-time at Gayfield, 0-0 between Arbroath and Ayr United.
Thanks, Kenny.
I honestly don't think at any point we're in the box it's ever intentional, if I'm honest, unless, you know, we've seen one where players are saving it in the goal line. That's intentional. I don't think when you rotate your body to block a shot like that, it's intentional. I just think where he is there in relation to the height of his arm being extended from the body, it almost stops the ball being on target as well.
Yeah.
And those types of things are taken into consideration. I look forward to Michael seeing a replay. You can come back
right,
to
Michael.
me.
I've just seen it. I'm just about to have the penalty kick taken here. Martin Boyle's about to step up right before half time. He steps up, back of the net, 1-0 to Hibs.
Right, okay, hit us. Your thoughts on the penalty?
Yeah, having seen it, the difficulty for Richard Tate is that he puts his arm up and it's away from his body. Now, I will defend defenders all day long when balls just hit off their arms and there's not a great deal they can do. He puts his arm, which in an area that I don't think you can comfortably say is in an area where it's just natural movement. It's too far out from his body, it's too high up, and you're running the risk when it's like that you're going to get a penalty. There's a big difference between that and what happened last week at Tynecastle, where I heard so many people claiming it was a penalty kick on Michael Smith.
Half-time at Ibrox, Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1.
Half-time at Tannadice, Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1.
Right, very quickly, Michael, the difference.
Well, Michael Smith's arm was down by his side basically, and he was moving it in closer to his body. Richard Tate's is further out and he's moving it further away from his body. Pretty simple.
Newcastle United have gone 1-0 up in stoppage time in the first half at home to Aston Villa. So just waiting, just one game, no, actually 2 games out, they're still playing there. Craig Easton at Tannadice.
Yeah, half time it's Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1.
Just waiting in one more game to go, and then we'll get round all the half-time scores, all the half-time reports for you. VAR again playing a part in Scottish football. Martin Boyle, that penalty in the 49th minute of that first half against St Mirren. The penalty awarded for a handball by Richard Tate.
And it's half-time, Richard. It's half-time, Kenny, here, 1-0 as well.
Thanks, Michael. Albion Rovers 1-0 up on the stroke of half-time. Jamie Leslie with a goal there at home to Stenhousemuir. So all the half-time reports and reaction to come right here on BBC Radio Scotland.
All the grounds, all the goals, all the news.
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Wow, again, a lot of drama on Sports Sound this afternoon. So many talking points. Again, VAR with a big part to play. We'll just have to get used to that week in, week out. Let's get to our game of the day. It's at Ibrox. It's Rangers against Aberdeen with Liam McLeod.
Fantastic performance by Rangers so far, but they've had to come from behind to lead 2-1 at the interval. Connor Barron's first senior goal for Aberdeen, giving the Dons the lead in a match that actually been really up against it at this point. The goal coming on 21 minutes, and only after Fashion Sakala had missed a glorious opportunity to give Rangers the lead. He knocked it over the crossbar from a Ryan Kent ball, but Barron, after Duke had been brought down in the box, good work by the Cape Verde international, left-hand side of the area. He was tripped by Tavernier, probable penalty, but Barron was there on the follow-up to ram it into the top right corner. It's been the only real positive note of the first half for Aberdeen, though. Rangers much more like their supporters want to see here when you compare it to last week's draw against Livingston. They managed to restore parity in the match, and Antonio Cholak tucked home just 6 minutes after they went behind from the impressive Malik Tillman. They managed to turn the game on its head in the second minute of stoppage time. Ross McCrory conceding a really poor free kick down on the left-hand side of the box. Barishic's cross. It came to Tavernier, who lashed it goal. It was saved by Roos. Ben Davis kept it alive on the rebound. And Lundstrom, who got that late leveller against the Lions last weekend, was there to ram it into the roof of the net to ensure that it's 2-1 to Rangers at half-time. Willie Miller, Kenny Miller watching this one with me. For listeners on 810 medium wave and BBC Radio Scotland Extra, Kenny, firstly, Rangers in front, and they deserve the lead.
No, they do. They should be further ahead, Liam, if the truth be told. I think Aberdeen they had a few corners, Aberdeen, but they've scored with their only 40 forward into the Rangers box for me. And Rangers, like you say, Sakala has had two or actually even three really good opportunities to score. It's been complete dominance. It's the exact performance I think the Rangers fans have been needed, have been demanding. I would say I think Aberdeen have played a part in that, by the way that they've set up, leaving themselves really exposed across this back line with their back three against a really quick and talented front three Rangers. And Ramadani, we've talked about him right through the first half, is not really doing the tracking job on Tillman. So Rangers deserve it to be 2-1 up. Probably could be a couple more.
Major issues for Jim Goodwin, Willie Miller, because it's 2-1. It could have been 4 or 5-1 at half time.
It could easily, yeah. It could have been an embarrassing scoreline, you know, particularly with perhaps his comments before the game, and also the fact that Rangers have not been in a good place here domestically, you know, in terms of performances. But it's been a very good performance from Rangers, but aided entirely with the setup. I'm struggling to understand coming to Ibrox and asking your three centre backs, one to sit in the middle and the other two to basically be full back. So you're playing with a back three, and you know, Kenny pointing out that you could go to a back five. He's reluctant to do that. You could also very easily go to a back four, you know, and that would still allow you to you know, put the case forward that you're still playing on the front foot. But Aberdeen are very fortunate to go in with just that one goal of a difference. Now, a lot of thinking I think is required from the manager.
Yeah, much made, Kenny, about the place Rangers are sitting in right now, but they've only lost one of their last 44 home league matches, and that was to Celtic in mid-April when they went down 2-1. They lead 2-1 against Aberdeen at half-time here at Ibrox.
Thanks to Liam and the lads here at Ibrox. Rangers deservedly in front, according to our pundits. They are 2-1. They lead Aberdeen. Hibs with a narrow advantage right at the death there as we approached half-time. 1-0 up at home to St Mirren. There for us, Michael Stewart.
Well, it's a first half that's been dominated by two VAR decisions. The first one early on in the game where Kuharevich had got the ball into the back of the net for Hibs. It looked like they'd got themselves 1-0 in front. But VAR looked at it, it was flagged for offside. Apparently the ball in behind from Joe Newell for Chabraya down the left-hand side, the left wing-back was offside, and the game was put back to 0-0. Hibs were pretty good. The game was going their way. They were attacking with some real intent. They had a number of opportunities on goal, and just halfway through the first period there, St Mirren started to edge their way into it, started to forage forward a little bit, got a couple of attempts on goal. David Marshall had to be quick and alert to make the saves, and right before half time, Chris Cadden clipping a ball in, and Richard Tate, his arm outstretched, the penalty was given against him. But although the play was waved on, there was no penalty given straight away. A free kick was eventually given to St Mirren on the edge of the box, but just during that period, obviously VAR had looked at it, got the referee to go back and have a look at the VAR screen on front of the tunnel. The penalty was given, and Martin Boyle smashed it into the back of the net, and that's how we stand 1-0 to Hibs at half time.
Yeah, thanks to Michael Stewart there at Easter Road. Let's then get to Tannadice and join Craig Easton. Dundee United against Motherwell, the half-time report, Craig.
Kenny, there was a couple of half chances for Dundee United in the early part of the game. Good play between Freeman and McGrath down the right hand side. McGrath's dangerous cross was too high for Fletcher, and Tony Watt failed to anticipate that. Then it was Stephen Fletcher himself. He had an overhead kick. It flew just wide after Ryan Edwards' header was blocked. But Motherwell grew into an edgy game. Connor Shields missed a big chance after Kevin Van Veen put it on a plate for him. But it was Motherwell that took the lead. 22 minutes. They got their goal, and it was through Sondra Solom, a header after a couple of crosses in the second phase. But Mark Birighitti, Dundee United goal, tried to tip over the bar, but he just popped it up into the air. The ball bounced down, and it bounced over the line with Dundee United defenders watching. The next real thing of note that happened was Tony Watt saw a straight red card for a challenge on Sean Goss. You've talked about it in the studio. I was unsure about it. I thought there was a coming together. I thought Tony Watt was potentially a bit late. There wasn't much malice in it. But, you guys have been talking about it in there and saying that it might have been merited. There wasn't much argument from Tony Watt as he trudged off. But at half-time, Dundee United have it all to do, down to 10 men and 1-0 down as well.
Thanks, Craig. We'll discuss that more in the second half on Open All Mics. Also, just every week we seem to have controversy, debates about the handball rule, just to get the guys' thoughts on what could simplify that, what could make that rule better for all these guys on the programme today that have played the game. So we'll talk about that in the second half, because week in, week out, we have controversy over the handball rule. Let's then get to McDermott Park, St Johnstone against Kilmarnock there for us. Alan Preston.
St Johnstone won Kilmarnock now at half-time, Kenny, and the goal came as early as 4 minutes. Really good play by Stevie May. Nutmeg Mayo at the edge of the box, and his left foot shot hit the inside of Ash Taylor's calf and into the back of the net. But Kilmarnock had a lot of possession without really creating that much. Taylor had a header over from a corner, then Cairn McElroy had a shot from 25 yards just wide. Up the other end, Stevie May effort was well saved by Hemmings, and then just before half-time, an inner shot straight at Matthews. That was about it. St Johnstone are 1-0 up, but Kilmarnock have had all the possession, but that's the half-time score.
Thanks to Alan then. So the half-time scores in the Premiership: Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1, Hibs 1, St Mirren 0, Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, and St Johnstone 1, Kilmarnock 0. Let's then get into the Championship. Let's go to Gayfield, Arbroath against Ayr United, and Kenny Crawford.
Half-time, Arbroath 0, Ayr United 0. The Red Lichties started and ended the opening 45 minutes, showing the kind of spirit and industry we were so used to seeing last season, epitomised by 37-year-old Bobby Lynn, who's been enjoying a new lease of life recently. He hit the post from 25 yards with a wonderful curling effort, but for the majority of the half, it was wave after wave of attack from table toppers Ayr United. Josh Mullen had 2 goal-bound efforts deflected over. Brad Young hit the side netting and drew a diving save from Derek Gaston, and Frankie Masonda's long ranger whistled over the top of the bar. Plenty action, no goals, 0-0.
Thanks to Kenny Crawford. Potentially the score line of the day so far across Scotland in the Championship at Starks Park. It's Raith Rovers against Partick Thistle, and there for us, Chris Dillon.
Yes, Kenny, Raith Rovers 3, Partick Thistle 0 at half-time. Thistle actually started this game better. They started well, they pegged them back, won 2 or 3 corners, but after 10 minutes they carved the first opportunity. Stuart Bannigan bent a shot into the bottom corner, but it was well saved and palmed away to any danger by Jamie McDonald. after that, it's been all Raith Rovers. You know, they scored after 13 minutes. Lee Hodgson was robbed in the middle of the pitch, 30 yards for goal possibly, and Aidan Conley strode forward and whipped an unbelievable effort into top left-hand corner. And then it just went from strength to strength. You know, they then go on 34 minutes in. There's a long throw from Kyle Connell, who's a striker, who somehow goes out and takes throw-ins. But he goes out, takes a long throw, it misses everybody, and Aidan Conley hooks it into the bottom corner with his left foot to make it 2-0. And then Thistle had the odd chance. Cammy Smith blazed over. It should have done better. Anton Dowds has had a sniff of goal as well. And then right at the very death, a penalty for Raith Rovers. It was Akinola dragging Dylan Easton to the ground. Kyle Connell kept his head, stepped up, made it 3-0 at half-time. Finished here at half-time, Raith Rovers 3, Partick Thistle 0.
Thanks to Chris Doolan there. Derek Ferguson has also seen 3 goals this afternoon. Derek, Hamilton Accies against Cove Rangers.
Yeah, Hamilton Accies 1, Cove Rangers 2 at the moment. The visitors took control of the game 10 minutes in, taking the lead. It was a Mark Reynolds nodding home from close range from a Gilmer corner. Cove made it 2-0 in 42. Mitch Megison from the spot after Vintanen had handled in the box, and Accies, well, their reply came 2 minutes later from the energetic Andy Winter, smashing home from 10 yards out to breathe life into this Aki side. So 2-1 at the moment to Cove, Kenny, and we're underway.
Thanks, Derek. In League 1, Airdrie 3, Montrose 0, Alloa 1, Clyde 1, Dunfermline 1, Kelty Hearts 1, Peterhead 0, FC Edinburgh 0, and Queen of the South 0, Falkirk 2. In League 2, Albion Rovers 1, Stennismuir 0, Annan Athletic 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife 1, 10-man Elgin City 0, Stirling Albion 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, and Stranraer 1, Forfar Athletic 0. And in the English Premier League, a full time from earlier today, Kevin De Bruyne gave Manchester City a 1-0 win away to Leicester. It's Bournemouth 1, Spurs 0, Brentford 0, Wolves 0, Brighton 3, Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 0, and Newcastle United 1, Aston Villa 0. So time now to get the action underway again. Again, you get the choice of listening full commentary of Rangers against Aberdeen on digital, online at BBC Sports Sound, BBC Radio Scotland's Extra on your smart speaker and on BBC Sounds. If it's open all mics you want, that'll be on BBC Sounds, FM and online.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Welcome back to Open All Night mics on BBC Radio Scotland. Let's get back.
They've got a goal already, and it's for Cove Rangers. Thought Accies were going to come back into this game. It's Scully just crossing it to Mitch Megginson, just coming in at the back post. Simplest of tap-ins, I've got to say, but what a quick start in this second half from Cove. They go 3-1 up.
Yeah, fantastic scoreline for Cove Rangers away to Hamilton Accies. Let's then get to Ibrox. Rory Loy is there for us. Rory, Rangers fully deserving of their first half advantage.
Yeah, they had enough chances in the match, Kenny, to deservedly be ahead. Aberdeen did put forward a few times, had a few corners, and have been a little bit more careful with their deliveries, might have been able to cause Rangers a few more problems. For me, Rangers could have scored again through Sakala, who missed the one-on-one. So they have had chances, Rangers. They just look much more like themselves, and what you'd expect from a Rangers side playing at home in front of a big crowd. The players are at it, they're driving each other on, they're closing people down, and the message seems to have landed, or the penny seems to have dropped, whatever way you want to put it. But deservedly ahead at half time. But I really don't think you can rule this Aberdeen side out. They average 2 goals every game, Kerry. They're a different threat this year compared to last when it comes to goal scoring. So they won't want to rest on his laurels, Van Bronckhorst, as the teams are just coming out the tunnel now.
Falkirk 3-0 up now away to Queen of the South. Kai Kennedy on 48 minutes. Chelsea pulled a goal back away to Brighton. They're now 3-1 behind. Kai Havertz with a goal there on 48 minutes. Michael Stewart is at Easter Road for us this afternoon. The late show at the end of that first half. The penalty from Martin Boyle. Michael, in terms of St Mirren, a big away support through there today, 4th in the table. We heard from Stephen Robinson before the game. What have you made of their first half performance?
Okay, without being scintillating, I think they've shown that they've got a wee bit of steel about them. They've kept themselves in the game. They only went 1-0 down just right before half time. I think Hibs over the piece deserved to get in front, but to me it's got a similar feel to the St Johnstone game for Hibs, that I think they need to make sure that they get the second here, and that they don't just sort of take their foot off the gas. Against St Johnstone, they were in front. They should have been, further in front. Then Kyle McGuinness obviously got sent off, and the game turned on its head. St Mirren are confident. They've got a lot of good results, so they'll have the belief that they can get something out of this game. So for Hibs, they've got to keep at it. They've got to maintain the performance level, because in the first half they were okay. They were not bad. St Mirren, they're going to be in the hunt at 1-0, that's for sure.
Michael, talking about the belief within that St Mirren side, fourth in the table. I'm not sure belief is in much supply at Tannadice for the home side. Craig Easton in the live table as things stand. United are at bottom.
Oh, he's put it over the bar.
Take it away.
It was Dirk. The cross comes in from the right hand side, and Dirk gets on the end of it. For me, he should do better. He should probably fight the net.
Alex Mitchell with a back pass there, putting his keeper under all sorts, and he's very lucky. He slices it out for a corner.
Thanks, Alan. Leanne just had a look at that replay.
He's a very lucky boy. The pass back, but certainly, Duke should do much better, as Rory describes. Great ball into a dangerous area. Certainly a dangerous ball back to the goalkeeper.
It's an interesting one, sorry, Lan. I just want to update you on a substitute as well, because James Sands has had to go back into left centre back because Ben Davies has went off, with what I assume is an injury, because he played absolutely fine in the first half. Scott Arfield's on, so it's got more of a 4-3-3 look to it now. James Sands back into left centre back, Arfield in, Lundstrom, Marshall in the midfield with Tillman and Arfield in front of him.
Let's then get back to Craig Easton at Tannadice. They're saying, Craig, in the live table, United bottom of the pile at the moment, down to 10 men and a goal down at home to Motherwell. What have you made of the performance in that first half?
Well, it's an uphill struggle. I don't think there's been too much between the teams, actually. A couple of half chances with each team. I think Motherwell probably settled into the game a bit better in that middle spell when they scored.
Got another Ian Richard. Richard, I keep saying Richard. Do you want to know how I'm saying Richard? Because he keeps screaming in my ear.
Is that another celebration?
Yes, it's Cove again.
My goodness.
And it's McDonough. They've just, I said earlier, I described Aki's as being pretty weak. Physically in the first half, I think mentally as well in this second period, but I think it's McDonough just again down the right hand side, the ball squared across, and there was 2 or 3 of the Cove Rangers players lining up. I think it's, I'll clarify that in a second, Kenny, but it's far too easy. So again, they extend their lead to 4-1.
A decent effort from Graham Carey, been out a long time through injury. It's a corner punched out by the keeper, comes to Carey on his left foot, it's over the top of the bar.
Bournemouth now 2-0 up at home to Spurs. Kiefer Moore on 49 minutes. Fleetwood Town, of course, Scott Brown's side, they're 1-0 up at home to Accrington Stanley. Annan had a goal down at home to Dumbarton. A blast in the past there. Greg Wild with a goal on 48 minutes for Dumbarton. Of course, been a fantastic start to the season. What about your game then, Alan? What do you need to see from Kilmarnock? They're a goal down there.
A bit more in the final third. They've had a lot of the ball. They've just not really done anything with it. Jordan Jones has not been in it. The front three, they've tried to play 3 against 3 against St Johnstone's back 3, but they've coped admirably so far. So you need more from them. But St Johnstone have got better in the second half. They didn't play particularly well. They scored early on in the game and then defended.
We've got another goal. And I'm cheering, Kenny, and I've got your name right. It's for Akis. It's a wonderful cross, right hand side. There's Andy Ryan coming in with a bullet header into the roof of the net. So, hey, what a game. 4-2 now.
Fantastic. We love the championship on Sports Sound. As I told you, Dumbarton 1-0 up the way to Annan. East Fife have been pegged back by Elgin City. Kane Hester, my goodness, he gets some amount of goals in 52 minutes. 1-1 there. Stirling Albion back in front at home to Bonnie Groves thanks to a penalty from Dale Carrick on 54 minutes. Peterhead, my goodness, how badly do they need a result? They're 1-0 up at home to FC Edinburgh. Jack Brown on 54 minutes. Airdrie rampant against Montrose. Lewis Jameson's put them 4-0 up in that game. So I want to talk about that incident at Tannadice, the sending off of Tony Watt.
Ludicrous decision.
Kenny, James, and I agree with you, Michael, because James just showed me the footage. I didn't see it at all, and in real time I didn't think there was that much to it. And looking at it now, I totally agree with you, Michael. There's very little contact. In fact, I would actually say that Tony Watt realises he's too high. He doesn't follow through on the challenge. He actually tries to not put kind of half pull out of it. there's very little contact on Sean Goss, and I think if you know the game there and you're looking at the game, you understand what's going on. And
it's down to the rules, though, Eastie. The rules are there's an intent there.
I don't think no intent whatsoever, because he's trying to pull out.
Oh, but even if there was an intent,
he doesn't touch him. Michael, why do we just not stick you in the bunker for VAR on a Saturday?
There's not one.
And just you do all the games at once yourself.
One, there's no intent.
There's no intent.
And two, there's no contact. So how can you red card somebody?
There's a couple of things that John Beaton would have looked at as he went over. Has he used excessive force?
I don't think
Was
so.
there brutality? And did he endanger the safety of an opponent? When I look at that, I think at best it's a yellow card.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
So he's looked at all the angles, but I presume a still as well, and he's come up with that decision
because it's high.
He slowed down, Kenny, like everything, and you could make anything you want from it, I think, in slow motion. I think in real time when you watch it.
Do you think that goes back to, Leanne, the referee feeling the pressure that he's been called to the screen to have to
this isn't a young boy, though. This isn't a young guy refereeing. This is an experienced referee taking this and getting a decision from another experienced referee.
Alan, I asked that.
Sorry guys, what a save from Liam Kelly. It was a good bit of play from Dundee United down the left-hand side. As is BH, a ball into the box. It broke Dean Hart's. He's had a volley. Well, it's bounced up high. He's had to adjust, and he's struck it at the near post, and Liam Kelly's made a fantastic save.
Alan, I was saying a crowd of us went through to the VAR centre. It's a fantastic setup. Crawford Allen spoke to us.
Yeah, on you go. 3-1 to Rangers, and it's full back to full back. Barisic with a fantastic ball into the back post, and that'll do James Tavernier's confidence the world of good. He rises high and heads into the bottom corner to make it Rangers 3, Aberdeen 1.
That's a brilliant delivery. James Tavernier does really well to go and attack it at the back post, Rory. And just looking at the build-up play from Rangers, probably a bit more variation in range to the passing today is what I've noticed. Switches of play, really going and opening Aberdeen up, exploiting them where they can. As you say, full-back to full-back is outrageous, but it's a great goal from James Tavernier.
It's what we spoke about as well at the top, Leanne, you know, players wanting to get in at the back stick. Lundstrom as well arriving in the centre of the penalty box when balls are coming in from the wide areas and finding a way within that shape to make it work, and they've been well worth a 3-1 lead so far.
Defensively, I'm just looking, Liam Scales is almost asking somebody else to go and pick up James Tavernier, but he's not actually picking anybody up at that point. So again, I'm unsure as to, you know, the guy spoke about it at half time, Willie and Kenny, Aberdeen being so open, you know, their shape and everything about them. They just don't look at the races today.
There's a bit of concern here at Easter Road. Martin Boyle's gone down again, and it looks as if he'll be coming off. There was a challenge probably about 5 minutes ago where Noah Kennett fell into Martin Boyle and he hurt his knee, and where it looked like he's coming off now. And we're only a few short weeks away for the season finishing before the World Cup, and that is going to be a wee concern for Martin Boyle as he's taken off the park here. And I'm pretty positive Hibs will have to be making a change for the Australian striker.
Yeah, hugely disappointing for the player himself and of course for Hibs. Other goals going in. Craig Whiten has put Dunfermline 2-1 up at home to Kelty Hearts. Sean Rooney on the score sheet for Scott Brown's Fleetwood Town, 2-0 up at home to Accrington Stanley. Just going through any other scores coming through. Bournemouth 2, Spurs 1. Ryan Sessegnon pulling one back for Spurs on 57 minutes. And that's you right up to date with the scores. Arnold, just in terms of VAR, we're at the HQ. I asked that question, how much pressure the referee feels under to overturn the decision when he's called over, and was told it plays no part in that at all.
It was me that said that, Kenny, sorry, Rory, and the reason I asked that was because there seems to be a good, 3 or 4 people now saying it was never a red card. So why has he looked at it and he feels it's a red card? Maybe it's the pressure that he's been called to the screen.
Kenny, you could say that, you can make that and pose that question as much as you want, but that comes down to the individual person.
Yep.
Now, everybody knows that if you're being called over, it's because the VAR official thinks that it's the incorrect decision, or that a decision needs to be made. Now, that comes down to the individual referee. Are you going to have the courage of your convictions and stick by your decision, or are you going to change your mind? And in most occasions, I would imagine, they will fold and they'll change their decision.
What a save that is.
Michael, see that decision there is one that if that had been given a red card in real time, I'd have said maybe. Yeah, but I'd have said maybe I can understand why he's given it, because it happens so fast. It looks high, it looks like his studs are up. He would go over and look at that, and I would think he would overturn that, because you're saying there's no contact. contact.
Yes.
And you say there's no malice or violent play or intent, and that's the one that. So it's actually worked in the opposite. These are the ones that are there to be. You know, you need to get these ones right.
That's incredible.
But that's
Well,
now
there's two
talking
senior
about two
officials
Grade
looked
1
at that.
referees.
Yeah, that's the thing, Alan. Two senior officials have declared that it's a red card.
Oh, well, tell me how though.
Well, David Monroe is VAR today, and he's not declared anything. All he said to John Beaton is that you should go and review, go and have a look at the screen and have a look at it again and make your decision. And that's what John Beaton's looked at it again and thought, it's a red card.
Aye, but he's told him to go over because he thinks that there's a decision to be made. Now, I don't care what grade the official is, it's the wrong call. That is never a red card, plain and simple.
It's interesting that all of our pundits who have seen that this afternoon in Sportsman are in agreement. That's a rarity.
Well, they're not.
In itself.
Alan Preston thinks it is a red card.
There's still a scene I still think it is. There's still a scene.
Sorry, Alan. I thought you.
I've seen a still where I think it was a red card.
But stills mean nothing. Stills mean nothing. You need to see.
But Michael, your decision on that is two referees saying it's a sending off, or one saying you need to have a look at it, another one saying, yeah, you know what, it is a sending
Alan,
off.
I still's going to show you that he's foot high and
it shows you nothing.
terrible. Right, so that's not going to help you there.
And I don't care who the officials are, the decision's wrong.
Right, we did say at the start of the programme there'll be plenty of VAR chat. Of course, we're talking about the incidents, but VAR playing a big part in the decisions that are made. Yeah, a chance.
Big chance for Tavernier again, and it's a lovely little bit of intelligent play for Sakala. The ball breaks to him in the box after ping-ponging about a little bit. Goes back to Tavernier. He goes to wrap his foot around it, takes a deflection and goes for a corner. You'd fancy Tavernier from that range.
Wolves have equalised away to Brentford. Ruben Neves with a goal there on 52 minutes. I'll just run through the score lines for you. So in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1. United down to 10 men. We've just been discussing the red card shown to Tony Watt. Hibs 1, St Mirren 0. Martin Boyle with a penalty there. Rangers 3, Aberdeen 1. Connor Barron gave the Dons leading 21, but goals from Cholak, Lundstrom and Tavernier have given the home side a 3-1 advantage.
There's a red card at McDermott Park's over the far side, and there is no VAR check. The referee has gone straight to his red. Just trying to see who it is, Leanne, if you can help me. It's over the far side. I think it's Brown. Is it Brown?
I think it might be. I'll get a replay of it, Alan. There will be a check anyway. Any decisions that whether they indicate in the stadium, they will look at it and ensure that it is the correct decision when it comes to a red.
You will be waiting on that, obviously. But
I think we've got a check here at Ibrox as well. It looked like a handball. It's one of those ones where it deflects up off, I think it's Duke, and it's a miscontrol. It hits his arm. Nick Walsh is speaking to the VAR. We'll just wait to see if he comes across to the screen. It looked a penalty to me. It's one of those where you can argue, well, it hits off his own body, therefore it can't be. He's gone over to check. He's gone over to check.
A check in 2 games at the moment, so we'll probably get a decision first, would imagine. Although the referee is still speaking to the players at McDermott Park. Alan, you've not had a close look. It's the far side, as you say.
It's a penalty kick. It's a penalty. Sorry.
Go for it, Derek.
Yeah, it's Andy Winters. He's just going to take a strike just inside the box, central area. And the block, I think it was Reynolds. It was, I'll tell you what, it's a stonewall penalty kick. And thank goodness the referee, we've not got VAR obviously, but
you could ask your assistant VAR and Richard Gordon sat next to you.
He knew no. The referee has been asked to come over and have a look at it at McDermott Park. He's been asked.
Right, let's see then. Let's put this to the test, because you guys all feel that the referees feel under pressure to change the decisions. Penalty at Ibrox. Rangers with a chance to go 4-1 ahead there. Lots of questions asked.
The penalty converted by Stephen Lawson for Accies. 4-3, what a game.
Come back on for the home side there. 4-3 down.
Ewan Anderson is the referee, the VAR assistant. The referee is coming over to have a look at it now.
Right, so
Rory, can I just quickly add in the Rangers one? I actually think it comes off another body part, and in my understanding was that wasn't a penalty.
Listen, it's difficult because what I'm going to put forward here,
it's come off his thigh, and his arm's almost moving naturally as you would to try and regain balance and control, and it flicks off his hand. For me, that is the harshest penalty you'll see, honestly.
Oh, I don't know if it's harsh, Leanne. I understand what you're saying.
It comes off his thigh, though. It comes off another body part.
In terms of the rules, I totally appreciate what you're saying, and you've very much got a case, but that should be, whether it's the law or not, it should be a penalty. You know, whether you could argue it is or it isn't on the laws, but
on the St Johnstone one, I'm going to say that there's a good chance that this might be downgraded to a yellow.
Tavernier's hit the post, he's missed it, it's came back out. Aberdeen now on the attack. It remains 3-1 at Ibrox. Sorry,
the referee here at McDermott, the referee is on his own.
Never a penalty.
Never a pen in Ibrox, Michael.
Never. Leanne's absolutely spot on. Leanne is absolutely spot on.
I'll come back to that, Michael. Sorry, the St Johnstone one, the contact for me is in top of the foot.
The assistant, Leanne, the referee is still, he's had a look at this now, God knows how many times. All the players are
Alan,
on the pitch staring at the screen.
There's a slight lunge, catches him in top of the foot. My understanding for it would be anything above the ankle would be a red card. For me, there's a good chance this could be downgraded to a yellow.
Alan, you guys always feel they change it. You guys feel they're under pressure to change the decision. Let's find out.
Standing there, the referee.
The thing is, like, whether
he stood there for, honestly, he's looking so many times. He's talking clearly to the referee. He's coming back on now. Here we go.
For me, it's a yellow.
He's got the red card out again. Hold on. He's calling Brown over. He's going to rescind it. It's going to be down to a yellow by the looks of it.
Yeah, and it's the right decision, Alan.
And it's
for
a
me,
yellow,
it's the correct
another decision overturned.
Which, by the way, the thing is, you can look at it and go, it's pressure, it's pressure. Every single decision when it comes to penalties, red cards, have got to be looked at. They will be looked at regardless of whether there's doubt or not. So
I've just seen that one, Leanne, myself, and next to him on Kilmarnock TV, and he seems to catch the top of his foot.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely plants him in the top of his foot. Anything above the ankle would have been a red all day long just because of the motion, but the contact is definitely at the top of the foot. And we had a missed penalty at Ibrox, is that right?
And among all that, with a miss, but hit the post, didn't he, Rory?
He did hit the post. Just going back to the actual incident, he dragged it wide. It was a poor penalty. As if you miss the target, it's clearly a poor penalty. But in terms of the laws of the game, okay, I'm not arguing that possibly isn't a penalty. However, he miscontrols the ball. It doesn't flick off him and go onto his hand. He miscontrols the ball. It's poor play, and it pops up and hits his hand. So that's possibly how he's came to that decision. How you can say conclusively, Michael, that's not a penalty is beyond me.
Well, it's because it's the law, Rory. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. However, the law, I don't.
That's what I can say is conclusively, because it's the law.
In terms of the law, though, he tries to control the ball. It's not hit his body with it. He's deliberately tried to control the ball and miscontrolled it. It's not a deflection.
Still, for me, Rory, looking at that, I honestly felt like his arms were reacting to the motion of the control of the ball. So look, we can't down him just because it's a poor touch.
But that's the whole point. When we were at the bar meeting, it's deflection versus deliberate. He deliberately tries to control the ball. He's got an opportunity to do so. He miscontrols it and it hits his hand.
I think it genuinely was a really harsh penalty.
2-0 to Hibs. A good goal from Kurevich. He gets on the inside right channel. He cuts it back onto his left foot. He bends it at the far corner past Trevor Carson and makes it 2-0 for Hibs. It was at that stage in the game where I was just thinking very similar to the St Johnstone game on Friday night. They needed to get a second goal to put it out of sight. And that's what the big Ukrainian striker's just done. He's made it 2-0 to Hibs.
Cunha South back in it, you'd think, against Falkirk. Conor Murray with a goal there in 64. Queens 1, Falkirk 3. Newcastle United 2. Callum Wilson with a goal there. A lot of people saying he should be going to the World Cup with England. He scored in 56 minutes, 2-0 up against Aston Villa. Any other score lines coming through? That's you bang up to date with all the scores. I was going through the scores for. Let's go back into the Championship. Arbroath 0, Ayr United 0. Hamilton Accies 3. Cove Rangers 4. A classic there for Derek Ferguson. Wraith Rovers 3. Partick Thistle 0. Another sore one for the Jags in League One. Airdrie 4. Montrose 0. Alloa 1. Clyde 1. Dunfermline 2. Kelty Hearts 1. Peterhead 1. FC Edinburgh 0. And Queen of the South 1. Falkirk 3. In Scottish League 2. Albion Rovers 1. Stennismuir 0. Annan 0. Dumbarton 1. East Fife back in front now against Elgin City 2-1 the lead there. Stirling Albion 2. Bonnyrigg Rose 1. Stranraer 1. Forfar Athletic 0. In England it finished earlier on. Manchester City 1-0 winners away at Leicester City. Bournemouth 2. Spurs 1. Brentford 1. Wolves 1. Brighton 3. Chelsea 1. Crystal Palace 1. Southampton 0. Now Newcastle United 3. Aston Villa 0. What a job they are doing, Newcastle. Massive investment, of course, but that is paying off on the park. They lead there by 3-0. East Fife have gone 2-1 up against Elgin City. I told you, Alan Troughton with a goal there on 60 minutes. My goodness,
Leanne,
it's been a busy spell.
they're wanting another penalty.
Yeah, it's never a penalty. I think it catches the back of Liam Scales almost in the t-shirt line. He turns his back on it and it catches the back of his arm, but his arm's tucked into his body.
Right, I just seen Nick Laws briefly put his hand to his ear, but
yeah,
must have been a quick one.
Michael, just to get back to that Hibs goal, Kucherevich does really well, doesn't he? He gets the better of Gogic though, who's soft. He tries to get his body across and block him, but he's really aggressive and physical, and it's a good finish.
That was a good goal for Hibs, the nice little bit of interchange, and then, as you said, that that ball that was getting played through, he just out-muscles Gogic, and it looked as if he'd fallen over, regains his feet and bends it into the far corner. Yeah, good goal.
What about McDermott Park, Alan Preston? That was a big call from the officials there. St Johnstone still with the noses in front.
Yeah, they are. Kilmarnock are coming into it. You know, big call. The challenge by Brown on Donnelly. You know, the referee produced a red straight away, and then on advice from his VAR man, Ewan Anderson, looks at the TV. It took a long time though. Again, it's about 3.5 to 4 minutes, and you can imagine somewhere in the west of Scotland, Crawford Allen is hiding in a bunker himself.
He's probably in that setup this afternoon. That's another thing, Alan, isn't it? A lot of officials you'd expect to be on call on the field on match day are being taken away from the game, sitting in that bunker, as you call it. You know,
that's the thing. I think lower league, second division.
Penalty for Ayr.
Yep, Kenny.
Penalty for Ayr United. The referee Graham Granger has pointed to the spot because Colin Hamilton, the Arbroath defender, has taken down Jaden Mitchell, Lawson, the winger. English winger, who's just been brought on.
What a finish! Ewan Henderson, top corner, lovely finish.
Wow. What a finish.
Melkerson was on the inside left channel. I think it comes deflected off one of the St Mirren players. He was trying to play the ball across, and it goes right into Henderson's path, who was coming in from outside the box. He steps onto it, and he passes it almost with instep with real pace into the top corner past Trevor Carson. 3-0.
Hibs absolutely cruising. Ayr United. Yep.
Ben Dempsey's scored from the spot, his third of the season. He's put it into the bottom left-hand corner past Derek Gaston, and Ayr United lead 1-0 at Arbroath.
And that would take them 3 points clear at the top of the Championship. Lee Bull inside there going very, very well indeed. Let's stay in the Championship. Chris Doolan is watching Raith Rovers against Partick Thistle. Chris?
Yeah, this game's petered out a wee bit, Kenny. Partick Thistle have had a couple of sniffs, but the final pass into the box has been relatively poor. They've struggled to get anything in the final third because Raith Rovers have been so well organised, and when they come forward, they're very, very effective in their movement in the front four. I was really, really impressed. You know, one of the things that I think is brilliant is that their highest goal scorers are the three guys who play in behind the striker. You know, not the striker. Kyle Connell only has one goal to his name, but the guys in behind him, Aidan Conley, Easton, these guys have 4 or 5 goals each, and I can see why. You know, they make fantastic runs forward. They find them into their feet. They pick up great areas. Sam Stanton is a very, very smart player. And it's going to be very difficult for Thistle to get back into this. They've brought on Danny Mullen and went 2 up front in a slight change of shape to go to a 4-4-2, and it's slightly working, but Raith look like they can protect this lead if they continue in this manner.
Derek Ferguson, you've got an absolute classic there, a 7-goal thriller.
It's a crazy old league, this, isn't it? The Championship, this game here, this is not petering out. Both teams, they're making substitutions, they're going at it. You try and look at a game, you try and look at the tactics, but I think the tactics are right out the window. Just both sides. A chance, can he? Oh! It's a chance for it. Mimno just come onto the park, just cut back to him, the edge of the box here. Gets a striking target, but got to see Gourley gets down well, saves it. So chances at both ends this game. Oh yes, it's 4-3 at the moment, but I don't think the scoring is finished, Kenny. I think there's more to come from this one.
Derek, what was your thoughts in the game last night? Did you manage to catch any of it?
It was
Morton game.
I think you described it perfectly with Dougie Imrie, because he's put his print on that side. You know, the battle for everything. You look at what they've got at their disposal in terms of, you know, very small squad, but you know, they just give Dougie absolute everything, and they can play a bit as well. But it still was a surprise to see, you know, that scoreline. Didn't see it coming, but that's the beauty of this Championship.
That'll be the question. Sorry, Derek, Folham, is the squad size, isn't it? If they can go and recruit and maybe get a few extra bodies in the next window, because they probably are light in terms of numbers. Every team's the same. I know that Inverness have had loads of injury concerns as well.
Last week, Leanne, I think Morton had 3 on the bench, 3 or 4 on the bench.
I know, incredible.
And I spoke to...
And no sub-goalkeeper last night either.
No, so bare bones are down to bit, so that's how you tip your cap to them. You know, they still go at it, they'll get an RV chance. Oh, it's Scully just at the angle. They should have fired
pick up Fergie, you couldn't pick a winner.
No, do you know, and it's unbelievable. I was just going to say about the Ayr United Queen's Park game when it was 5-0. Ayr United were rampant, and then you look at Queen's Park.
Oh, he's got to finish it. Stevie May, brilliant play on the right hand side. Witherspoon to Dre Wright. He nutmegs McElroy, gets to the byline, hangs it up. Lovely for Stevie May. Downward header, back across the goal, just wide of the target.
Huge chance, Alan. He does really well. It's brilliant play as you describe. Does everything right. I think he actually, I'm not sure who it is that's arriving in support, but he probably could head it down, cushion the header, Stevie May, but he goes it alone as any striker would. Just off target.
Just look at the championship table as things stand. Ayr United 3 points clear, 3 clubs below them on 21 points. Morton, we've just been talking about. Queen's Park going very well. Inverness Cally Thistle on a poor run but still right in there. Partick Thistle on 20 points. Dundee and Wraith Rovers right in the mix as well. Cove Rangers going well today, but Derek saying a real cliffhanger there in that game against Hamilton Accies. Let's get back to Craig Easton. He's at Tannadice, the home side. It's been a struggle for them this season. Are they giving much in the second half, Craig?
Yeah, they've actually been better, Kenny. It's been very scrappy. Both sides have been going at it, but they've been not much quality. Motherwell certainly haven't taken advantage of the extra man, but Dundee United shape looked better. William Fox has went to a back 4 and he's put William Smith into the middle of the park. He also took Dylan Levitt off and brought on Ian Harts to maybe support the front, and it has looked a bit better for them. Glenn Middleton's just replaced Stephen Fletcher as he was running out of steam a little bit there, but you know, if anyone was looking like they were going to add another goal, it does actually look like Dundee United, although there's not a lot of chances in this game, but they're still in it and they're really pushing for their manager, really pushing for the equaliser, but at the moment it's kind of a wee bit of a stalemate.
Stennismuir have equalised away to Albion Rovers. William Sewell on 70 minutes. FC Edinburgh have equalised away at Peterhead. Danny Handling on 76 there. Jim Goodwin talked the talk before this game at Ibrox this afternoon. Rory, how his side performed? They seem to be a bit overrun in the second half.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Duke has been their best player by a distance. Barron had a good first half. He's now off, probably protecting him a little bit after an injury, but other than Duke, Rangers have dominated most of the match, to be totally honest. They're well worth a 3-1 lead, missing a penalty as well, missing a few other chances in this half. So yeah, I mean, he did talk the talk and what they want, and to be fair, at times they've showed glimpses. Rangers are just on the day been too strong for Aberdeen, I must say. As there's a chance here for Arfield. Oh, Stewart gets back to make the block.
It. Goal! What has he given? He's given a foul. It's a corner. It comes in. The keeper drops it onto the bar and it's knocked in. But there's a foul at the front post under Stevie May. Kilmarnock are incensed with that. They're not happy at all. Leanne, to clear that one up.
Hopefully get a look at it. Craig Napier certainly explaining. I don't know, did the whistle go after the ball hit the back of the net, Alan?
It seemed to, yeah.
Yeah, it might be one.
They're obviously going to have a look at it.
So it was Donnelly, wasn't it?
He's pointing out there's a foul. He believes there's a foul.
There is a check going on.
There's a foul at the start of the front post area on Stevie May, who goes down. But the ball goes over Stevie May's head. The keeper spills it, hits the underside of the bar, comes down.
Must be. Oh, he's cleared off the line brilliantly. It's another chance again. Oh, good save. Don't know how Arfield hasn't scored there. I think it's Ross McCrory back on the line. He manages, Tillman picks out Arfield wonderfully, showing him really nice touches today. Tillman passes it to Arfield inside the box, he lifts his head, he places it well, but McCrory's back, I think it's McCrory's back on the line and empties it out for Aberdeen.
Yeah, just waiting for the decision to be made there, Alan. This is a big call at McDermott Park.
This game will finish about 20 to 6.
certainly wasn't a foul in Remy Matthews, Alan.
No,
I don't think there's any debate over that.
Yeah, he's ruled that to be, he was correct in his decision, a foul at the front post.
Miguel Almiron has scored for Newcastle United, ramping at home to Aston Villa, the lead by 4-0 there. I mean, Rory, just in terms of Aberdeen, they got that early lead. We know that Rangers are fragile at the moment. The fans have been turning on the club. Is there anything that should he have just and it shored up for a while, got to half-time. Is there anything he should have done differently when you look back on that first half? Because that was a big moment then going ahead in that game.
It was. I mean, if you went 1-0 up and you've started reasonably well, then I don't see any reason why just because you're 1-0 up you would all of a sudden shore things up. You want to do what's giving you success. I just feel as though Rangers getting that goal so soon after, I think Alan Preston touched on it, was massive. The longer it goes at 1-0, the more difficult it becomes. But credit to Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and his team. They've answered the critics today. They've played really well. In terms of Jim Goodwin, I think you'd rather lose 3-1 having a go than shoring up and getting beat 2-3-1 and wondering what could have been. As Arfield goes through again, I mean, they're pretty rampant here now, Rangers. They're so comfortable.
Have they had a go though, Rory? Because from what I've seen, Rangers have dominated this game from almost start to finish, even at half time in comparison to last week. They had 9 shots in target over the entire game against Livingston last week. They had 3. So to me it looks as if Rangers have dominated everything in Aberdeen. Maybe have got the game plan a bit wrong, actually going to Ibrox and being as expansive as they've been.
Chance for Partick Thistle. Big chance for Partick Thistle. It's a fantastic ball whipped, and I think it's Cole McKinnon that whips it in. Jamie McDonald comes for it, spills it, and it lands at Aaron Muirhead's feet, and he's about to put it in the back of the net, and I don't know if he mishits it or he takes his eye off the ball, but from about 2 or 3 yards he goes into the side netting. But a huge chance for Thistle.
I hear what you're saying, Leanne, with regards to that. However, I think if it's 25 minutes gone, you've had 4 corners, you've looked a threat, you're 1-0 up. I don't see any reason why at that point you're sitting going, I need to change this. I think after 25 minutes it's going pretty much to plan. Rangers equalise. Again, I still don't see reason to change things fully just because Rangers have equalised.
Yeah, no, just going off the bits that I've been able to be across today, but also listening to the summary, the guy says it could have been 4-5-1 at half time. So that it could have really been well and truly out of sight at that point. Yeah,
I mean, he's tried his best, Jim Goodwin, to get back into it. Ramirez is coming on now. I would imagine it'll probably be Formiovski, who's not really had a say in this game yet. It is Formiovski who hasn't had really had a say in this game, so he goes off. Just an all-round disappointing day for Jim Goodwin and his Aberdeen side.
Hibs going very well. Sorry, just Hibs going very well. Easter Road there, Michael, in the live table they're up to 3rd spot. But you were saying earlier on your top 6 is a bare minimum, but they've got to be looking at getting European football, haven't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where they should be over the course of the season. I think they'll be able to do it. They'll be there or thereabouts. I don't think they will. I think Hearts or Aberdeen will probably be in front. But at the start of the season, I was unsure about whether they were going to be able to get to the top 6. They've got a really big squad. I think they've got a good team, but I was unsure how long it would take Lee Johnson to be able to sift through and find his team. It's starting to take shape. This is a good result for them.
Is it good to watch, Michael? We go back to Neil Lennon's side. They were excellent to watch. Is this a good Hibs team to watch?
Well, do you know, the incredible thing is Jack Ross's Hibs side were entertaining for me as well, but a lot of the Hibs supporters didn't like it. This Hibs side is evolving. They've got good players. They've got entertaining players. They've got attacking players with pace. So that's always going to be good to watch. It's 3-0 here today. This has been a good game. It's been a good performance from Hibs. They can go away happy with it. And they're up to 3rd spot. They will be in the hunt for Europe. I don't think they've got the consistency though to be able to get it this season. But they're definitely in the mix, and that's where they need to be.
Alan, apologies, I cut across you there.
No, it's fine, Cam. We're just talking about if you've got a 6-game card, we've got 12 officials sitting in a bunker, plus 2 floaters. How's the standard of the refereeing and officiating in the lower leagues?
But you've heard concerns around it, haven't you?
I have. I've spoke to clubs in the lower leagues, and they're concerned, very concerned, because we've got, I don't know, well, if it's a 6-game card as a touchdown, there'll be 12 officials sitting in a bunker, and there's 2 floaters as well. One overlooking 3 games, another one overlooking 3 games. So you're talking 14 officials that are better officials. So how does that drop down the leagues? What are the lower leagues getting, official-wise?
It's an interesting one because we do go on with the lack of match officials, and it's a tough job. I certainly couldn't do it. They got a lot of abuse and a lot of reports and that recently.
But Kenny, how could we not? To be a VAR man, you need to know the rules and that. You don't need to run. So why are we not asking former referees that know the rules to do it? Why are we not asking them to do it? Because we're a country with not a lot of referees.
It's a good point, isn't it, Leanne? I mean, it is a good point. I remember doing a thing with Graham Souness before, and I said, what could we learn from VAR down south? He said he thinks there should be more input from former professionals who have a better reading, a better understanding of the game.
Yeah, I think the point is probably just having modern day referees, though, that are actually officiated in the game just now. I think the game's probably changed and evolved, and the laws have changed, you know, so I think having Category 1 referees is probably a tougher job than just wheeling out the old guard that maybe once upon a time did the job. I think there's a place for ex-footballers to be part of that decision-making process. I would certainly advocate for that, because I do think there's value to that level of input. Understand what Alan's saying, and if you think the lower league and the men's game's troubled by officials, you should come and have a look at some of the women's matches on a weekend.
I do watch them.
Do you feel short-changed? Seriously, I mean, you know,
you'd be out of a job, Kenny, if you actually said what you thought genuinely. It's a real struggle, but I understand everybody has to start somewhere. But at the same time, when it's the top flight Women's Premier League, and you're dealing with that at times, it can be a struggle. So it's a work in progress, that's for sure. And I think the more referees they can get through and upskilled, the better, certainly, for the game.
Kenny, another big moment at Starts Park today. Not another goal, but the introduction of Lewis Vaughan back into the team.
Terrible time, hasn't he?
He's been out 14 months. The lad's been out. This is his 4th ACL injury he's had. He's done both knees twice, and this is him just being reintroduced. So I'm looking around the stadium, and I think every single fan is applauding him back onto the pitch. So terrific to see that he's back in. He's looking in great shape as well, and by all accounts he's been training well and doing well in training. So what a fantastic moment for Lewis Vaughan and for Wraith Rovers to have him back.
I mean, Craig Easton, that takes huge desire, courage, whatever you want to say, doesn't it, to come back 4 times from that injury?
Do you know what? I know Vaughan, I worked with him, and listen, absolute, his resilience is incredible. Mentally, how he's dealt with that, it's been brilliant. He's had a lot of support as well, and it's a good club that's given him support. But for Vaughan individually, he had a lot of hard days in the gym, a lot of hard days on your own that you can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, and you see him back on the pitch. It's brilliant to hear that, Chris.
And Craig, he looks in fantastic condition, you know.
I'm not surprised.
He's a great lad, as you know, but he comes on, he looks physically very, very well. So just a great moment to see him back on the pitch.
He's a real talent as well, Chris.
He is, and hopefully we've got a couple of touches between now and the end of the game as well. But the fans are delighted to see him back.
Also delighted with the score line through there. Wraith Rovers cruising against Partick Thistle. Albion Rovers are going 2-1 up at home to Stenhouse Muir. Bonnyrigg Rose down to 10
Sakala.
men.
Oh, it's a goal. Oh, it's offside. Flags up. Sakala does really, really well. If I was him, I would have shot. He had a clear sight of goal. He ends up playing it to Morelos. It's a lovely wee ball. It's offside. Really good tracking back from Sakala as well. He dispossesses Duke in his own half, runs forward, plays a cute little ball to Morelos, who rolls it into the corner. The flag does go up. It'll be checked, but quite possibly offside. Leanne might get a better look at it.
Sakala does really well, Rory, as you've described. He wins back the ball inside his own half. He then goes in the break. Just getting a look at it just now. Yeah, he's offside. He's offside. Morelos just goes at a fraction too early.
Could he have shot himself, Sakala?
He probably could have. The way he comes across as a player on the pitch, the way he's always smiling, I think he's more of a team player at times and likes to try and reward folk. It's maybe a goal that Morelos would have needed more than him.
This is a long delay, Leanne. He's still thinking about it.
I think on the screen it says it's disallowed, offside. They will look at it, you know, unless I'm seeing something else, but it does
look...
They're
checking a disallowed goal, it says.
Yeah.
So it's been disallowed at the moment. Oh, yeah, there we go. Play on. Still 3-1.
Derek Ferguson, you've been a bit quiet for a while. What's happening with you?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. We're a wee bit confused here at the moment. The referee he's wandered forward and he's pointing. I don't know if that's a penalty kick or not. There's a lot of the players.
To who?
A penalty kick to Hamilton Accies, because all the players are surrounding the referee. They're not so sure what's going on. They're looking across at the linesman, at the referee. I think it's an indirect, looks like an indirect free kick he's now given. Indirect free kick.
This could be some comeback, couldn't it? Accies 4-3 down at home to Hamilton.
They've got an opportunity, Kenny. The ball's just inside the box. It's a central area, so I think it's an indirect free kick. So as you can imagine, the wall is right in that 6-yard line. So Well, I don't know how many times you would practice an indirect free kick, but you'll need to use a little bit of imagination if they're going to get past this wall, because it's right across that 6 yard box. So the keeper, he's blinded, he can't see anything at the moment, so it's got to be one of the wee slightest of touches, and then obviously I think he'll just go with power.
It needs to be moved twice. The ball needs to be moved twice, because the wall will go for the first touch, they'll all run at it, it needs to be moved again. Further away, maybe 5 yards to the right.
Good tip, man. Let's see if
It
they
has
do it.
moved twice and he's stuck. It's a deflection. It's into the back of the net. Unbelievable. Oh, what a finish. I tell you what, I was having problems getting through to the TV. They weren't hearing me, but you can certainly hear me in open all mics. What a goal, what a comeback. Unbelievable stuff. And Biscuits, the ball rolled 4 times.
Brilliant. It can't go for the touch hit. Very rarely does it go in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love having you on Open All Mics this afternoon. Derek Ferguson, 8-goal thriller in that game there. And let's get into Kenny Crawford, Ayr United, top of the table, Kenny, as things stand.
Yeah, they'll be 3 points clear with this 1-0 lead at Arbroath, Kenny. There's 3 minutes of normal time left. Arbroath still really pressing though, trying to get that equaliser, but as it stands, it's Ben Dempsey's penalty, his 3rd goal of the season.
It's in the net this time, and it's Morelos. Rangers are honestly, they've got Aberdeen pinned back into their own box. Sakala's been outstanding in this second half. The ball's rolled across the face by Arfield, and Morelos taps into an empty net. Again, that'll do his confidence a world of good. The flag stays down this time, and it's Rangers 4, Aberdeen 1.
I have to say, Rory, I mean, a couple of times in European games, he's looked. I know he's come on when games are maybe done and dusted, but Sakala's looked decent.
Yeah, he has.
No, he's looked really good, Rory, as you say, particularly in the second half. Again, it will be looked at, the goal. I don't know if Aberdeen had the hands up for offside again initially with the ball that gets played to Sakala.
For Ayr United. It's a second one. It's Jayden Mitchell-Lawson, the man who won the penalty that Ben Dempsey converted. He's got the ball on the left side of the box, twisted and turned and fired it into the bottom right-hand corner. Arbroath 0, Ayr United 2.
Yeah, Ayr United will finish 3 points clear at the top of the championship this evening. Leanne, you're in a close look at this.
Rory, is there a check still going on?
Still going on at the moment.
It does look as if Sakala might have gone fractionally early. I'm sure we'll get a decision in a minute or so.
Well, 6 minutes added on at McDermott. 6 minutes to go.
The Rangers players are all still, they've not went back to their own half, so I think they feel it's offside.
Actually, the initial play from Rangers was excellent though, and there's a ball that Lundstrom plays just round the corner. It comes back into him and he just fizzes it with the right foot into Arfield, who's inside the penalty box. He pins it. Sakala then plays in behind. That's tight. I'm just looking at a still just now on the screen. It's very, very tight. Looks like he could possibly be in line with Stewart. But as I say, when I first seen it, it did look like he's gone a bit early. So it'll be interesting to see what the VAR lines come up with.
Yeah, Nick Walsh just standing in the middle of the pitch waiting to hear from Willie Collum.
There'll be no debate over it. Nick Walsh isn't going to need to look at this again. That will come from the VAR room. Morelos' face is a picture. I'm sure he's desperate for the goal to stand.
He needs it, doesn't he?
He does, just in terms of confidence. Yeah. I think trying to get the fans back on side as well. I think they love him, you know, at Ibrox, but he needs to do more. He needs to give them more. And this far in the season, I don't think he's offered that. Yeah, there we go, Rory.
Goal stands. It's 4-1.
Yeah, Michael mentioned it earlier. It probably just shows you the value in those types of decisions, because they're so tight, you know, and certainly even for the assistant referee to make that call when it is as tight as it looked to me. You do need to have obviously a still of it and be able to draw the lines on it to double check.
Yeah, Stennismuir have equalised late on against Albion Rovers. Ross Forbes in 87 minutes. That was from the penalty spot after Ewan Wilson was sent off for the home sideline. You're pointing some now.
Even looking at the lines on the screen, I'm not convinced he's onside.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness.
Dear, what a day for VAR this is. Just quickly, Kenny.
Full time at Starks Park. Raith Rovers 3, Partick Thistle 0.
Thanks, Chris.
Just to go back to my original point about the penalty kick, I just want to touch on it again. It's a clear, everyone can see it, there's no bodies around them. Nick Walsh and Willie Collum have both had a look at it and decided that it's a penalty, so there must be a law there somewhere that says that is a penalty, and that's why I was putting forward the argument that that's possibly, you know, the deliberate action of the defender to try and clear it, because there must be a law in there that makes that a penalty. Their vision's not obscure, they both looked at it, they've both seen it. There must be a law that in there that says it's a penalty, so whilst you could argue it's deflected off him, there must be a law somewhere that says that's a penalty.
Well, there's two VAR officials looked at the red card at Tannadice and says it's a red card, and it's never a red card. Referees make wrong decisions.
No, they make wrong decisions, but there must be a law given how clear he can see that to suggest that that is a penalty, Michael.
I think that is the case, because the other one is subjective, isn't it? When you're looking at the one at Tannadice, but the one there at Ibrox, it clearly is a decision that gets made there on the
Sorry,
laws
Kenny,
of the game.
there's a problem on the far side.
Yep.
There's a lot of the players, Kilmarnock and St Johnstone, surrounding the referee. I can't see what's going on because it's
clear down.
Right over the far side. There must be 10 players round them.
Is it Conor McLean? No,
he's holding his side, isn't he?
I literally can't see because
shoulder.
it's a melee over there at the moment.
Yeah,
the referee's trying to throw them out the way.
Some late goals. Alloa look like a late winner. Luke Donnelly has them 2-1 up in the 93rd minute at home to Clyde. Brighton and Hove Albion 4-1 up at home to Chelsea. Pascal Gross with the goal there. Spurs look to have nabbed a winner away at Bournemouth. They are now 3-2 up in that game. It's finished Stirling Albion 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Dunfermline 2, Kelty Hearts 1.
Donnelly yellow card. McLennan, okay, just incredible stuff. How'd you pick the bones out of this?
I mean, honest to goodness. I mean,
what a sitter at Easter Road here. Alex Gogic is a corner. Erhan picks him out. Free header, 6 yards out. He sticks it past the post. He has got to score. He's missed it. Still 3-0 to Hibs.
Full time here at Tannadice, Kenny. It's Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1.
And they are bottom of the Premiership table this evening, level on points with Ross County to play against Hearts tomorrow, but United have a worse goal difference by 1, so really worrying signs.
Full time at Gayfield, Arbroath 0, Ayr United 2. Ayr United top of the championship with a 3-point cushion.
Yeah, what a start for Lee Bullen's side. 24 points. Arbroath rock bottom there on 10 points. What a contrast for Dick Campbell's side from what's soft from them. We all loved the story last season. They went so close to getting up into the top flight. So Alan Preston still very edgy there.
Yeah, Theo Bair has just gone into a challenge with Wright. Referee right out with a yellow card. This game's got to take a while to finish yet, I would imagine. We were into 6 added on minutes, but we had the melee on the far side. Now another booking. St Johnstone making changes as well.
Right, well, Stephen Thompson, if you're listening down in the sports scene studio, he'll be up after 5 o'clock. We want clarity on all these big talking points. Yes, there, a classic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Aki's coming from 4-1 down in this second half to get a 4 each draw. You've just got to love the championship. It finished Hamilton Aki's 4, Cove Rangers 4.
Yeah, we do indeed. It's so tight at the top in the championship. 2 games last night. It was a cracker on the BBC Scotland channel. What a win for Morton. 4-0 against Inverness. Cali Thistle Stranraer being 4-1-0. Yes.
Theo Bair has gone through and it's last man. It looks like he's Joe Wright. What a tackle. Timed it to perfection. Bair was clean through.
I love that, Alan. I love it when they slide in and actually regain possession. You know, you could have slid in and just put the ball out of play, but he actually regains possession.
But here's Bair for a chance to win it. Oh, he's missed it. I think he's got 1 goal in about 500 games, Theo Bair.
And you can see why by the sounds of it.
It was a poor finish. Then a really good play rolled in by Hallberg. And he's running over the goal. It's one of them on his left foot. You've got to try and dink it over him. He goes low and the keeper seems to save it.
Alloa beaten Clyde by 2 goals to win. A late winner for them there. Any other full-time scores? Brighton have beaten Chelsea 4-1. We heard the full-time score from Tannadice and Craig there. Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1. A contentious red card, I think it's fair to say, for Tony Watt.
Full-time at Easter Road, Kenny, 3-0 to Hibs.
Thanks, Michael. Dumbarton, what a start they made to the season. They won 1-0 away at Annan Athletic, and that's you right up to date with all the latest scores. Just waiting 2 games going at Ibrox and the McDermott Park. Rangers in cruise control there, Rory.
Yeah, very much so. Tillman, as I said, has shown some really nice touches at times today. He's moving forward again into the side netting. Yeah, they've been absolutely dominant in the second half. Duke had a header just after half time. Other than that, it's literally been camped in Aberdeen's half for the rest of the half. Thoroughly deserved their 4-1 lead, Kenny.
Really interesting to hear what Jim Goodwin has to say after this one today.
Full-time at McDermott, St Johnstone 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Right, that's a big result for the home side there. Stevie May with a deflected goal, went in off Ash Taylor on 4 minutes. Stevie May's had a good couple of weeks, so we're just waiting on the game finishing at Ibrox, and we'll get all the reaction sports in between 5 and 6 o'clock. We'll get a preview of a big rugby game for the Scotland national side this evening. We will hear from the managers. Very interesting to hear from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, always very cool and composed. He'll be a very happy man tonight. He was definitely under pressure in this game today. Him and his side have risen to the challenge. We heard from Jim Goodwin. He was very optimistic ahead of this match. His side have been completely outplayed. Real problems at Tannadice, you'd have to say, for Liam Fox. We'll hear from him on Sports. And Hibs cruised to victory over St Mirren, though big concerns with an injury to Martin Boyle there. He opened the scoring from the penalty spot in that one. Alan Preston just telling us about a big win for St Johnstone at home to Kilmarnock. Ayr United top of the championship this evening. Our bottom there. Derek Ferguson watched an absolute classic. Hamilton Accies 4, Cove Rangers 4. Another sore one for Partick Thistle this afternoon, going down 3-0 away to Wraith Rovers. A good news story is that Lewis Vaughan back in the park. It's 4th ACL. The boy's talking about the character that's taken from him.
Oh, Tillman's missed one. Aberdeen wanted a penalty at the other end for a handball. Rangers break away. Moreles plays a great ball across. Tillman stretching, can't quite get there. But the Aberdeen fans, it was right in their corner actually, had a good view of it. They jumped and shouted for a penalty. I'm not sure that it was. We'll need to get Leanne maybe to have a look at it. I don't know if she can.
Yeah, I've only seen it in real time, Rory, but we'll get a replay of it. Tillman's got to do better.
I can only assume that it was checked and there was no penalty, because it's finished here at Ibrox. Rangers 4, Aberdeen 1.
Okay, thank you to Rory Loy. So all the reaction to come on Sports Sound this evening. We're on till 6 o'clock. As I said, Stephen Thompson will come up and join us. He's been down in the Sports Scene studio this afternoon. He's had a close look at all these big calls that VAR made in the game. No doubt the contentious one was that red card shown to Tony Watt at Tannadice. Most of our pundits feel it was the wrong call. Alan Preston felt it was a right decision by the match officials there in that game. Dundee United losing by 1-0 to Motherwell. Sonder Solholm with a goal there on 22 minutes. Hibs rampant against St Mirren. Rangers very convincing against Aberdeen, and St Johnstone holding on there at the end to beat Kilmarnock by 1-0. We heard from the Championship reporters this afternoon. As I said, a classic for Derek Ferguson, 4 apiece in that game. Hamilton Accies against Cove Rangers. Partick Thistle struggling right now in terms of results, but as things stand, they're 5th in the table, only 4 points off top spot there. Accies are second from bottom on 11. Cove Rangers just 2 points above them. Then a bit of a break. Wraith Rovers in 7th spot, but between the top 7, just 5 points separate these sides. Ayr United top of the pile this evening. And down in England, Leicester City losing 1-0 to Manchester City. Spurs nicked it late on 3-2 away to Bournemouth. Still playing. Brentford 1, Wolves 1. Brighton thumped Chelsea 4-1 this afternoon. Graham Potter's return to Brighton. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 0, Newcastle 4, Aston Villa 0. What a fantastic season Newcastle are having. All the reaction to come right here on BBC Radio Scotland.
Football.